It's time for high school football, presented by TISD and Cox Communications of Tyler. Brought to you by Dairy Queen and Supercuts. Also brought to you by these sponsors. Get ready, high school football is just ahead.
Back at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler, captains meeting at midfield. Walter Simpson for Lee, Erica Jiki, Warren DeHaven. Big number 72 as well. That's right guard Brian Culp. The officials, it's Lone Star chapter Doyle Pogue. And here's the captains meeting at midfield. Umpire is Brandon Kirsch, referee Doyle Pogue, line judge Russell Bishop, side judge Chuck McElroy, and the back judge is Dan Metcalf.
All right, gentlemen, step in here. Y'all are the captains of your team now. We expect if somebody gets one out of line, y'all step in there and take charge and say, hey, we're here to play football. If you're one of the ones I'm explaining the penalty to and you don't understand it, just tell me, hey, let's go over that again. We'll do it again. Okay, your back receivers when they're tackled, don't throw the ball away. Just leave it laying on the ground and head one of us. Now, you know we had a toss before the game, and we're just doing a little mock toss here because you have won the toss and you have deferred. And you're going to be receiving away from the clock. You'll be kicking from the clock. You'll turn your back to this goal.
All right, so Waco High has in fact won the toss, and they have deferred. They want the ball to start the second half. They want their defense, Randy, which is again so talented, to have a chance to maybe set the tone for this game. And Lee's offense, which was brilliant last week, especially on the ground, will get the first shot to see how this thing goes pretty quick. We'll check in with Craig Spoke in a minute. Randy, obviously this is going to be a game I think we'll see a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage for both of these defensive teams.
Well, the key for Lee is to do what they did last week and get that momentum going early on, and that'll be the key for Lee offensively. And Waco's going to try to disrupt, obviously, and they want to get turnovers, and that's how they move and get everything going on the defense.
Craig on the sideline, your thoughts about, you've seen this Waco High team before. They're obviously very explosive, but so is this team wearing the red and white tonight.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's going to be as easy a task as it was last week. It's going to definitely be a hard-hitting, competitive game. And Coach Owen said in the paper today he thinks it'll be a battle between the offensive line of Robert E. Lee and the defensive line of Waco. He talked about the defensive machine of Waco last week with Sean Brown, and it should be a real competitive game.
All right, Waco High kicking off. And kicking off for the Lions is Julian Veracruz. Chris Aputica and Jason Williams back deep for Lee. Waco High and Robert E. Lee, both teams wear red and white. Lee with the all red with the white numbers. Waco High with the white jerseys and the red numbers. And both teams have a little black trim as well. Veracruz kicking off from the east side of the end zone, and here we go. High, wobbly kick. Williams lets it hit at the 10 and will pick it up in the air at the 5-10 and get out to the 16 and turned around right there. For Robert E. Lee, it is Josh Hill, the quarterback. 16 yards passing. He only threw 5 attempts last week. He has thrown for 1,196 yards in his career. Up front, left tackle to right tackle, Saron Black, Sam Banks, Blake Larman, Brian Culp, and Matt Holland. Of course, they rotate a lot with Christian Bailey and Davenport. Saron Black, 6'5", 321 senior, has committed to LSU. Walter Simpson, the senior, splits out to the far side. John Giles, the tight end, and 3 running backs in the backfield with Josh Hill. They run the reverse to Jason Williams, gets a turn at the 20 and knocked down at the 23-yard line for a gain of 7 on the tackle both Sean Brown and Chris Johnson. For Lee, quarterback is Josh Hill. Peyton Price, the fullback, scored twice. Tyrone Ross with 3,112 yards rushing in his career, 132 last week with 3 touchdowns. And Jason Williams will be the wingback in this formation. Now they bring in Tony Bush, the senior flanker, in the slot with Peyton Price in the offset eye. 2nd down and 3. Hill back to throw. Play action pass. Steps up, has time, throws deep, and there's a trip at the 45, and they say an uncatchable ball at the 45-yard line. And it's now 3rd down and 3 for Lee at their 23.
Lee starts right off power running on 1st down, and they get a nice sweep out block up front from the right side of the line, pulling Brian Culp and Matt Holland. And 2nd down play, of course, just a long throw as Josh just overthrows his receiver downfield.
Had some time to throw there. That was a key there, but it looked like Waco High in some cases, also knowing that Josh can take off on that naked bootleg, making sure they don't give it up. It looks like Lee's got some confusion here on 3rd down and 3, and the play clock down to 13 seconds, and they are not happy on the sideline. And it's 3rd down and 3 as Lee off to a shaky start with the timeout early. And you don't know as far as so crisp last week, it was almost too perfect.
Well, I think what happened there was personnel-wise, they didn't have who they wanted on the field to call the play, and Josh alertly takes a timeout along with Coach Owens on the sideline.
3rd down and 3 at the 23-yard line, and Williams has 7 yards, and then the incomplete pass looked like the receiver and the defensive back had their feet tangled up, and now Lee comes up here against this Waco High defense. Up front, they're pretty good. Andre Henry and LaQuanta McDonald are the defensive ends. McDonald's brother, LaQualin's an offensive lineman at Baylor. His younger brother is LaQuintus coming through the system. Dante Ward and Brad Langford, the defensive tackles. Hill up the gut to Peyton Price for a 1st down at the 35, 38-yard line. Nice gaping hole as McDonald makes the stop downfield along with Tucker, the cornerback, gain of 15 yards. Here are the linebackers for Waco High. Sean Brown, the senior, 6 foot 230, 101 tackles last year. Andrew Hurtado, who was a fullback last year, another linebacker. Reggie Young and Tyrone Brooks. Brian Tucker, Rashad Johnson, and Chris Johnson are the defensive backs. So a gain of 15 and a 1st down, and that play was very effective last week as well. At the 39, wingback reverse, Peyton Price breaks the 1st tackle and then gets out to the 41. And again, Lee running their system, even though Waco High is very effective on getting penetration. So far, they haven't. A little bit better job of their front 4 that time. Brown on the tackle, gain of 3. It's 2nd down.
On the 3rd down play, a great pulling block from Sam Banks at left guard to open the door on the misdirection bump play to Peyton Price, and Price takes it again. Juts out a little bit further right side behind Brian Culp and picks up 3.
Former lead running back Derek Farmer last night had a big night for Stephen F. Boston. He's the all-time leading rusher, and Tyrone Ross trying to catch him at some point, the senior. Here's Hill in protection, pass caught by Simpson from behind. What a nice grab by the senior. Nice protection again, and a gain of 18 yards. Josh Hill and Walter Simpson, who is not afraid to go across the middle, goes back behind his back and picks up the 1st down in Waco High territory.
Just an outstanding catch for Walter Simpson, cutting across on the crossing pattern. The pass is a little behind him, but he keeps his concentration over the middle with a great catch.
It's 1st down Lee at the 43-yard line of the Lions after a nice 3rd down conversion. One back is Tyrone. They run that wingback fake. Josh bounces outside and tracked down at the 40-yard line, and that's the linebacker, actually the safety, Rashad Johnson. Otherwise, if he's not out there, then Josh might be still running. And Johnson, the 6 foot 280-pound senior, but a pickup of 3.5 yards, and they're trying to confuse the front 7 of Waco High.
Well, the misdirection will do that, and with Josh's wheels, and he got great speed, he just makes the fake inside. The defense forces inside, except for the safety, reading the play outside the tackle Hill after a short gain.
Jacob Amy's far side. In the slot to the near side is Simpson, and John Williams is the split end this way. Split backs behind Josh Hill. Simpson in motion. There's somebody moving on the right-hand side, and that was one thing that Lee offensively really struggled with the numerous pre-snap penalties. Matt Holland, the 6'1", 271 senior that time, the culprit, and it's now 2nd down and long.
And those are the type of things that really just drive coaches nuts, and it's what kills drives too. And let's see if Lee can overcome a little bit of adversity on the penalty. 9:48
to go in the 1st quarter. 2nd down and let's say 12 now. based on the markers. And D'Angelo Jones is checked in for Lee on the far side. Simpson in the slot. Tony Bush to the near side. No tight ends in this formation. Simpson in motion, back to throw. Josh steps up, has pressure. Now looks over the middle, going deep for Bush. Caught it at the 10, 5, touchdown. Count it. 45 yards, and give the offensive line a tremendous amount of credit because they gave him enough time. He had to move around a little bit, but what a great job by Tony Bush, and that's the 7-on-7 communication from back during the summer.
Well, the protection was great once again, and Josh just really did a slight little fake hesitation, and Bush separates from the cornerback covering him and makes the catch at the 12 and dances in untouched for 6 for Lee.
9:32 to go, and Lee scores as they did last week on their opening possession. And they hit a big pass. Snap hold by Preston Hill, kick by Cole Skate is good, and with 9:32 to go first quarter, Lee goes in the airwaves this week. Remember last week they didn't have to, and they strike it big. Josh Hill, 45 yards to Tony Bush. We're back in 1 minute.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there. We're there with nearly 50 degrees and certificates and as many as 400 continuing education classes. Wherever you want to go, we can take you there because we're right here. Tyler Junior College.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there.
9:32 to go first quarter. Cole Skate set to kick off. 7-0 Lee on the 45-yard strike from Josh Hill to Tony Bush. Skates approaches from the west end zone location. Deep kick. Johnson at the 10. They try to find a wall. He knocked somebody down early and then cleaned up by 45. Nice job by Justin Simmons on the stop for Lee, but Lance Heath kind of broke up that wedge, whatever that was called, to Carey and Cuba down there as well. And the lead defense comes on the field, and here comes the exciting quarterback in Carl Sims.
Lee, 8 plays, 84 yards and 218, and the big pass play. We had 3 completions on the drive for Lee, and they take off from right where they left off last week, David.
For Waco High, Carl Sims, the exciting junior who's changed his number from 10 to 1, will take over. I formation behind him. At his 22-yard line. Sims to the fullback, not much. No, he kept it. He is so cool with that football. Somebody made a great tackle on the outside, and Jiki looked like he was over there, along with Sherfield. But he's dangerous with that football. He can really fool you out. The area Simmons and Troy Halbert are the fullback and tailback. LeGerald Betters and Anthony Hicks, the receivers. Brandon Fletcher, the tight end. Up front, Justin Scott, Joe Wiley, Israel Berlanga, Demetrius Johnson, and Sam Dancer, 6'1", 310 right tackle. Gain of 5. Sims, deep pitch back to Halbert. Forced outside, nowhere to go. Tries to go the other way and has some room. Has a first down, 30. Cuts against the grain, is in the secondary. At the midfield, into lead territory. Caught from behind at the 30-yard line, and Troy Halbert was deep in trouble, and what a job, almost Marcus Allen-like Super Bowl before Nick Mitchell tears him up, and what a huge play for Waco, gain of 47 yards.
Just outstanding athletic ability from Halbert. He comes left side, there's 5 red shirts in his face. He just reverses his field, cuts it back across, breaks a tackle or 2 once he gets in the secondary, and Warren DeHaven is there also to help bring him down.
Wow, just like that on the second play from scrimmage, 47 yards against this, what is a very proud lead defense, and here come the Lions threatening at the 28-yard line. Split receiver in the slot, somebody moved on the right-hand side, and that was the tight end Brandon Fletcher, and that will cost the Lions 5 yards on a procedure call. Against DeSoto in the scrimmage, Robert E. Lee, although defensively dominated that game, they did give up a very long touchdown run in that game. The official again, Doyle Pogue, the referee. 8:32 to go in the first quarter. 7-0 lead, but Waco High. And I tell you what, Lee had so many guys around Halbert, I think, that they kind of, in a way, kind of took a break and thought they had him hemmed in, and the next thing you know, he's gone. 1st and 15, 2 split receivers, I formation. Sims back to throw, rolls to the far side, now steps up and has a man over the middle. Pass is caught and dropped. Covered by Micah Johnson, who had nice coverage on Betters, but Betters all of a sudden jumped up. It looked like Johnson may have lost the ball, and Betters should have caught that thing for a touchdown. It's incomplete, 2nd down.
Well, what happened there too, David, is Cole Skates all of a sudden towards the end of the play brings a nice little blitz into the quarterback, had him rush the pass a little bit, and it flew a little bit high for even the 6'3" wide receiver, and it's off his hands, incomplete.
So 2nd down and 15, and Sims, a guy that also, he likes to get out there, and he has the option of running or throwing. That's what hurt Lee in the 4th quarter last year. 2nd down, offset I. Sims, the senior, 5'8", 160. Draw play, Halbert. Not much there. In fact, well, they got him hemmed in, and this time they wrap him up with a little stick-em. Ricky Sherfield, the defensive end, was there, along with Sam Banks, the defensive tackle. And that time, Halbert tried to, again, reverse his field, and he loses 3 yards, and it's now 3rd down and long.
Just the swarming Lee defense makes the play. The run play really never develops because there's so much force coming inside. Give credit also to DeHaven and Skates for being there to polish up.
For Lee, again, Sherfield and Cordero Mumphrey, the defensive ends, they rotate a lot of people. This time, Saron Black, the Human Island, the defensive tackle. 3 receivers set, wingman far side, back to throw. Francis rolls to his right, Sherfield's in his face, throws, pass caught and dropped at the 32, and another drop pass. It would have been short of the 1st down. In fact, short of the original line of scrimmage. At the 36 was where the play was snapped. The original line of scrimmage, remember, the 28, Eric Ajiki in on the stop as far as defending the pass. Linebackers, these are good ones. Cole Skates, Warren DeHaven, Dominique Van Sant against Lance Heap and Takarian Cuba, rotating at some positions as Bandit and Rover. And then Micah Johnson, Quet Nicholson, the corners, and Lee has forced Waco High into a punt. Nick Mitchell bouncing off the field and back on it, and here comes the snap to Carl Sims. Very high, turns it over, and Tony Bush will field it with a fair catch. Nice job. At the 16-yard line, that thing most likely would have bounced inside the 10. A 20-yard punt. Lee's defense bends a little bit for the first time this year, but they do not break, and it's 1st and 10 Lee on offense with a 7-0 lead.
It's all about the speed and pursuit, and Lee really brought it, even on the big 47-yard run for Halbert. They were there in time. He just was able to reverse his field and show some great speed outside. But give credit to the Lee defense for buckling down and showing their tremendous speed and pursuit.
So 7:29 to go, 1st quarter. Lee up 7-0. Peyton Price with T.Y. Tyrone Ross, the deep back. They run it Tyrone up the middle, and a nice play by the defensive tackle, and he's a man-child on the stop that time for Waco High. That was actually Andrew Hurtado, the middle linebacker, but they've got some monsters up front, including Langford at 280 and LaQuantum McDonald at a 240 senior.
That's the first offensive play where Lee really had no productive yardage at all, and just a nice bit of plug up the middle for 3 or 4 white shirts for the Waco Lions.
And that's Tyrone's first carry of this game. 2nd down and 10 as they've gone with Peyton Price, and now they have a little stack here off right tackle. Josh, play action, flag is down, illegal, I think, formation. Pass caught by Tony Bush and then tracked down at the 38-yard line, but this is coming back. I don't think Lee had enough people on the line of scrimmage, and I don't think they had the right tackle covered up, Randy. And this one's going to come back. The flag thrown by Russell Bishop, and I believe an illegal formation will go against the Red Raiders. I could be wrong. And a very nice strike again as Josh Hill found Tony Bush over the middle.
To be offsides.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe a Waco High defensive lineman was in the neutral zone, and I'm sorry, it's exactly what happened. So good news for Lee, 21 yards, and Josh Hill off to a nice start, Randy. 3 of 4 for 84 yards. Jason Williams checks in to tailback for the Red Raiders. 84 yards, and of course a lot of that is to Tony Bush, 66 of them. At the 38-yard line, Williams the deep back, Peyton Price the up back. Here's the snap, wing back reverse, T.Y. bounces outside. What a block, Banks, 40, runs over the safety, and little Tyrone Ross has a first down at the 48-yard line. He ran right over the safety, and Banks and Black with a nice peel block and a gain of 12 yards.
And Banks just waylays number 44, Sean Brown. He never saw him coming. He peels back and opens the door for T.Y. to break open a nice 12-yard gain.
So Tyrone, who got nothing on this first carry, turned the corner, and Sam Banks, the left guard, 5'9", 235 senior, with a great block. And Tyrone took on the safety that time and won the battle there. At the 49, Hill, wingback reverse, Peyton Price up the middle, 45, first down 40, into the secondary, down to the 35, down to the 33, and a gain of 17 more. Rashad Johnson and Reggie Young were there for the stop, but Lee's offense is clicking again.
Coming out in a red wave, they just keep pushing. The misdirection really, unless the defender is really keen on the movement, then he's not going to have a chance because the running back's behind.
You know what? And it seems like on a couple of occasions, Lee's running backs have been very patient. They've been hit, but it's been only because they've bumped into somebody, but they've kept their feet. 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. There's motion again, and this time it's the tight end Giles. And that, Mike Owens, when I went and visited them this week, said that, you know, we did everything we could offensively, as sharp as I've ever seen a team offensively. We didn't have to throw the ball much. Wish we could have in some ways, but we didn't have to in the second half. We just wanted to get this thing over with. Here's Doyle. Nope, nothing there. So we just wanted to get the second half over with as soon as we possibly could. He goes, David, we've got to throw the ball to set up the run in this game.
Well, that's a blessing in disguise because Waco really had nothing to go over with them unless they went back to last year's offense. And, of course, Lee's throwing in a few new wrinkles, too.
1st and 15 now. T.Y., the deep back, and it's unbelievable. Jonah Murphy this time jumps off sides. So they've had the right tackle, Matt Holland, jump. They've had the tight end, John Giles, jump. And they've now had Jonah Murphy, the backup tight end, jump. And there's
I'll start on the offense. 5 yards, till first down.
That's Doyle Pogue. And again, Mike LaRue, our incredible engineer, setting us up now with Craig on the sideline, Kerry here in the booth, Randy and I in the booth. And now we have live audio from the officials whenever we can get to it. So now a very good-looking drive, and Waco High's defenders had their hands on their hips there, Randy, a little confused, and now Lee has 1st and 20 here at the 43-yard line. Hill back to throw, rolls to the far side, has pressure, has a man that's Giles wide open at the 30, caught it. 25, he might have a first down, he does. Sean Brown and Rashad Johnson make the stop, but again, what a nice job of not panicking. Matt Holland gave him just enough time on LaQuinton McDonald and a gain of 25 yards, and well, just jump off sides every once in a while, no big deal.
Well, it really matters not, you know, because Lee's able to come off with big plays. That time the linebacker on the far side, on the weak side for Waco, did not pick up the tight end. He rolls out into the flat, and he was very wide open. He goes down deep for a first down.
6:02 first quarter, I formation. Tight end Giles, who made that nice catch. This is Peyton Price up the middle and just kind of bulldogs down close to the 16-yard line. And this is Dante Ward, number 98, the 290 junior, on the stop for Waco High. And we're just midway through the first quarter. It seems like we've played a bunch.
I know, and Lee is really dominating. They are doing it on the line of scrimmage, and we said that was going to be a big point in the game. And thus far, they pretty much had their way offensively moving down the field.
And they continue, even with the athleticism and the size of Waco High's front four, they are not afraid to run their offense, which is misdirection, trap plays, and a lot of pulling plays. Play clock is down to 10. They got to hurry here with 5:24 to go in the first quarter. I don't see how they can get this play off in time, but maybe Josh sees the clock, and he does. That's that sprint crawl. Tyrone at the 10, makes a man miss inside the 10 for a first down. Sprint draw on the spread out to the left tackle position for a gain of 10 and a first down. And again, Tyrone breaks a tackle. Andrew Hurtado makes the stop for Waco High.
Give credit to Brian Colt falling in behind Sam Banks, and of course Sharon Black on the left side opening a nice hole. And I'll tell you what, Tyrone had plenty of daylight, and he pushes through and bounces off a couple would-be tacklers too.
Walter Simpson will check out. 18, that is John Williams, splits to the near side. It's an offset eye with Giles, the H-back. Tyrone bounces outside, now tries to cut it, and he's in trouble, breaks a tackle. Breaks another one. Look at this young man keep going. Inside the 5, and that may be as good a 2-yard run as you're going to see. It's only 2. It could have been -5 on a couple of occasions. Tucker makes the stop, but Tyrone muscles his way for a pair.
Well, it's almost as if he has Crisco or something on his pants because 3 or 4 white shirts had a hold of him. He wrestles his way out and digs deep. Like you said, a 2-yard gain. He ran about 8 yards, out of trouble for that.
That's that sprint, just spread draw that they run. And they just take it and go as fast as you can around the corner, and he looked for the cutback, and he tried to do both, and he ends up with 2. Now, 2nd and goal. Amy splits far side. Good-looking young athlete that he is. Pushes the H-back. offset I. Williams and Peyton Price. This is Williams fake reverse. Now Josh has a man open in the end zone. He should have thrown it a little bit sooner. He had Peyton Price, and what Peyton should have done that time is just stay where he was. He kept floating to the side, and that allowed the defensive back that time. That's Reggie Young, the sophomore, number 8, to knock it down 3rd and goal.
And on top of that, Josh really had a little bit of a lane. Had he decided to run the ball and tuck it, he probably would have gotten to the corner with Young in his face, but big 3rd down upcoming for Lee.
4:12 to go, first quarter. Now remember a couple of years ago when Lee played Waco High here, in that 37-33 loss, they had many opportunities inside the 5 that they couldn't get in. Double tight set. That's Tyrone outside, and he will lose a lot of yardage. Back to the 10, and it's very similar to what happened back then as they took one of their bread and butter plays, Randy, except went the other way, and he got tossed down like a dish rag, and a loss of 5 yards, and Dante Ward again on the stop for Waco High.
It looked like the same play Lee ran against the Woodlands for the 2-point conversion, which they failed to get at the end of the game last year, too. And,
except that was on the right-hand side.
True.
With Keandre. Now Lee had the ball, remember, at the 4 on a 1st down and goal. And now they'll settle for a field goal attempt. Preston Hill with Giles, the deep snapper, and Cole Skates, the kicker. Snap, hold, good, kick up, and it is also good. Cole Skates, field goals, add them up, they equal quite a bit. It's 10-0 Lee with 3:31 to go. 27-yard field goal from Cole Skates, and we're back in 1 minute.
To see this sign on your house, put this sign out front. Century 21 Advantage. Call or visit our website.
Here's a question. If you needed your insurance, who would you call? Not the name of the company, but the name of the person. You've got 2 seconds. Coming up blank, you may want to consider Allstate. You'd have a local agent you can count on, a licensed professional whose name you know, not just a number. You deserve a relationship with a real person.
For all your insurance needs, call the McIntyre Insurance Agency in the Albertson Shopping Center.
Back deep for Waco High, Troy Halbert. And also Tony Jones. 3:31 to go, first quarter, 10-0 Robert E. Lee, and Halbert will field this at about the 3. Looks for a wedge, not much room to go, and he gets knocked down. Nope, keeps kind of fighting out, but another nice job by what is a very contagious, I want to make the tackle first special teams, to carry in Cuba the second time we've mentioned him, and of course Nick Mitchell and Lance Heap were there as well.
Robert E. Lee goes 10 plays, 74 yards, David, and right at 4 minutes, and Cole Skates, tops it off with a 27-yard field goal.
So first down, Waco High at the 16-yard line. They had a nice little drive that was knocked dead back inside the Lee 30 at one point. First down at their 17. Carl Sims, the quarterback, runs the sprint option near side to Halbert, and again, nowhere to go, and he will lose 2 yards. Nick Mitchell and Eric Ajiki were there. And I tell you, somebody drilled Cordero Mumphrey after the play was over. That was 79 Demetrius Johnson. So second down and 12 right here. And again, Halbert gets the ball, and before he has a chance to look upfield, there are red jerseys in his face.
We'll call them the Red Swarm defense because they're there on almost every occasion, David. They're there to meet and greet the ball carrier, and that time he loses 2.
So Lee defensively gave up the big run, but now they're starting to wrap up a little bit better. Sims in the shotgun with Halbert as safety guard. Triple receivers, 2 far side. He fakes the draw, runs to the near side. Nowhere to go because Dominique Van Zandt dominates him, and he got maybe a yard or 2, and that is it. The speed of this Lee defense, and he ran over somebody on the sideline, but they pick him up, pat him on the rear, and say, Carl, nice run.
He fakes the handoff to Halbert, I believe, the running back, who's coming near side as well. And 3 red shirts are there with Nick Mitchell wrapping up to the quarterback.
We appreciate if you are from Waco listening to our broadcast tonight on News Talk 600, AM 600 KTBB. Our buddy Tom Barfield from KRZI in Waco is here doing their broadcast. Nice guy, does a great job. 3rd and 9 for Sims and Waco. Back to throw to the far side. Steps up, throws over the middle. Great coverage. Micah Johnson picked it off. What a great play by the corner. He was stuck on Betters, Remember earlier when Betters out-jumped him, that time it's Micah Johnson with his first career interception at the Lee 41, and that goes as a nice punt for Waco High, but that's a great confidence booster for the senior Micah Johnson, who's replacing who was a great cover corner in Quentin Gardner.
Well, he does a fantastic job. The pass is a little overthrown for the intended receiver, and Johnson just really studies the ball and brings it in after bobbling it a couple times, and Lee takes over after the Waco turnover.
2:30 to go, first quarter, 10-0 Lee. Tight end is Murphy near side. H-back, there's a reverse to Tyrone Ross, cuts it up on the sideline, got about 4. Nice tackle that time on the cornerback Chris Johnson, the senior. Tyrone gets 4 though, and that's that old Oklahoma wide receiver or slot person coming as soon as the snap is made. You give it to him, and it's hard for the defense to react to that, because if you react too quickly, Randy, you run that fullback trap right up your gut.
And that's where the misdirection confusion sets in for Lee when they're moving and clicking like they are. Give credit up on the side that time for Giles making a nice block on Laquan McDonald.
All right, Tony Bush in the slot over here along with John Williams. Actually, they're two flankers this way. Walter Simpson, far side, back to throw. Here comes pressure. Josh steps up. Going deep. Simpson open. 20, 10, 5. What a first quarter passing for Robert E. Lee's Josh Hill. Walter Simpson abused the cornerback. 55 yards, touchdown Robert E. Lee, and Saron Black got a nice block to give Josh just enough time again.
Play action pass sets it up beautifully. He has all day long to throw the balls. He's getting great protection, and there's Simpson 5 yards downfield. Pass the cornerback makes the catch at the 20 and dances in untouched for the Lee touchdown.
Walter Simpson was the split end on the far side, and here's a guy, remember, that had the calf injury on the first day they worked out. And he had a catch last week. One of them called back, and he's had a big start. He and Tony Bush with 2 long catches. And Josh Hill, here's the snap to Preston. Kick by Cole is good. He drilled it. 2:14 to go. It is 17-0 Robert E. Lee. And Josh Hill, we're going to keep it here, Justin. Josh Hill now is 5 of 7 for 164 yards in the first quarter.
Wow, that's really scary, but it's all about execution, and Lee looks like a well-oiled machine, David. They're doing just what they want to do, running the ball and throwing it, and fantastic. Right?
Unbelievable. And again, they're giving Josh Hill plenty of time. And I think what really helps as well is Josh is so good on his feet. He kind of scampers around back there, and he's very quick on his feet. He's able to move in the pocket, find an opening right there, and wow, what a strike. And that thing was in stride. And that was a pump and go to Walter Simpson, and the cornerback bit on it, and Walter in stride goes 55 yards, and give the offensive line credit, because you can't run that play if you don't have time to make the pump, then step up, set, and throw the football. Cole Skates about to kick off again for Robert E. Lee. Johnny Tusa said after he watched Lee against Memorial last week, and there's a lot of time left in this one, folks, but he said this might be Mike's best opportunity as far as his best team, both sides of the football. 17-0 Red Raiders, and Cole Skates will kick off. Approaches high, and a very good kick. Albert back near the 1 and over in the corner as well. Look at the, oh my goodness, the wedge busters. And they don't even get him out to the 15-yard line. 16 came in there. I think that's Eric Ajiki. An absolute missile, and all he didn't really go for the tackle. He went just to blow some people up, and then to carry in Cuba, his third special teams tackle this game. Also there was Lance Heap, and was Colby Ray, number 36. And Waco High down 17 with horrible field position at their 15-yard line. 2:07 to go, first quarter. Lee again switching around people up front at the defensive tackle position. Sims up the middle for a couple of 3, and I think Johnny Tusa said, okay, listen, we've tried to go wide. We haven't been able to do that. Let's try to pound on them a little bit, which is what Mike Owens and defensive coordinator Randy Huffsticker and assistant head coach Jay Law thought they were going to do. Cole Skates on the stop that time for Robert Lee, gain of 4.
Lee scoring drive, if that's really what you want to call it, David. 3 plays, 59 yards in 16 seconds, and a big pass play from Josh Hill to Walter Simpson.
Sims this time with a lone setback. It's Halbert, second down and about 6.5. At the 17, 18-yard line. Sims, slant pass, caught, first down, and Waco High needed something to just kind of stop the momentum. Micah Johnson the stop and the pickup of about 8 yards to LeGerald Betters out to the 27-yard line.
Nice pass and catch for Waco, and as you mentioned, it really does stop the bleeding. Their defense really can catch their breath for a few more minutes. That's incumbent upon them moving the ball downfield even further.
So Robert E. Lee up front, I think, again, it's 68, the defensive tackle now for Robert E. Lee, and that's Bobby Osborne. Here's Sims to the fullback, gain of 2 or 3 yards out to the 32. Remember the first time Lee and Waco High met? Cole Skates on the stop, Bobby Osborne there. In 2000, the year that Derek had the long run, but they were hammered 34-9, they had a tremendous bevy of running backs. And I mean, they just pounded that fullback up the gut, and then after you finally started stopping him, the quarterback would fake it to him and then run right through the same hole. I mean, and Johnny told me he didn't think they had the kind of running backs now to be able to do that as much as they've done in the past. 2nd down and 6. Waco High down 17. Sims bootleg to the near side. Wants to throw, now has to run, throws, pass, incomplete. And great pressure by Cordero Mumphrey. Great pressure as well late by 66, and of course that is Gabriel Lacey. And Lee had all sorts of red jerseys in the passing lanes.
They do such a great job of coverage, and you have to give credit, of course, to Coach Huffstickler and Coach Law over there. They make the right moves on defense, had their players set up in great position, and the pressure on Sims that time forced him to throw the ball a little hurriedly.
So 3rd down and 6, Waco High with 36 seconds to go in the first quarter that has been all Lee. And Craig, we're going to come to you in a moment on an update on Jason Stripling. Again, Jason, the bandit, the kind of rover safety combo, phenomenal player, is not playing for Lee in this game. We'll tell you why in just a moment. Sims in the shotgun. Lone setback, and there's movement. So now it's 3rd and 11. Big 79 moved, and when Demetrius Johnson at 6'2", 295 senior moves, you hear it, feel it, and see it. Craig, tell me a little bit about Jason Stripling not playing tonight.
Yeah, Jason Stripling suffered a pinched nerve. They said he's week to week, but they want to make sure and milk it as much as they possibly could with Lufkin coming up next week. But if this was a district game, then Jason Stripling would in fact be playing tonight.
Thank you very much, Craig. And the 3rd and 11 now. By the way, Longview is in Monroe to play Neville. That game is tied at 7 apiece at halftime as the Lobos try to go 2-0 under John King. They were a slow starting team last week, and then they buried Marshall behind an unbelievable running ground game. Now 3rd and 11. Sims in the shotgun. Halbert the lone setback to his left. Sims rolls to the near side. Look at the pressure from Sherfield. Now turns the other way. Van Zandt is there. Sims throws it. Pass knocked down. Eric Ajiki, intended receiver, was very close to the first down. That's number 80 for Waco High. Justin Johnson, check that, that's Betters. And Eric Ajiki, the safety, comes over the shoulder and bats it down. And did you see the pressure that was put on him by Sherfield immediately?
Immediately, he just beats the block of the right tackle and is right in Sims' face, but Sims is alert and quick himself, and he rolls back, and just a great defensive play all the way around for Lee.
So back to punt, Carl Sims. Back deep is Tony Bush. 26 seconds to go in a very long first quarter. All Lee, 17-0. Line drive punt, Bush at the 41. Looks for a wall. At the 45, nice speed midfield into Waco High territory, and he runs over a Waco High Lion and stiffs a shoulder into him. Anthony Hicks got a shoulder from little Tony Bush, and Tony has a nice return to the Waco High 45-yard line. 32-yard punt, 13-yard return, and that's one thing we've already noticed this year is Lee catching the punts and getting those hidden yardage.
Well, they've done just a great job all the way around coaching-wise. As you remember, for several seasons, Lee had all kinds of trouble on special teams, but now that's a strength of the squad.
First down, Lee starting in Waco High territory with 14 ticks to go in the first quarter. 17-0, 2 long touchdown passes from Josh. Offset eye, Peyton Price up the middle, kind of just flips forward. Give him a 9.8 from the Czechoslovakian judge, and it's now the end of the first quarter with our score. Robert E. Lee 17, Waco High nothing. Back with the second quarter on News Talk 600 KTVB.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Represent your team like never before. On the field, on the court, it's all in our store. The spirit of your team, the season of your dreams. Looking for the victory, we've got what you need. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics.
Second down and about 8 for Lee. Back to throw. Josh Hill in trouble. Escapes pressure. Oh, he left the ball on the ground. It's picked up. Waco High. Tyrone Ross will knock Hurtado down at the 28-yard line. Very strange play as Sean Brown came in and created a problem for Josh Hill, who was trying to step up, and he went to hold himself from falling down, and the ball was lost. And Hurtado picked it up and runs it back into the 30 to the 28, and Tyrone Ross saved a touchdown. And that's the kind of defensive effort that we saw all of last week on film when Waco High hammered Clemens 31-26.
That's what they do best, is just be disruptive. And finally, they were disrupted really for the first time all game long on the initial play of the second quarter.
And you never know how that may give Waco High a different mentality for this quarter, down 17. Straight I formation, tight end near side. Sims runs the quarterback option, tries to string it out, and there's nothing there. Cole Skates, who's just as quick as he is, believe it or not, the 5'10", 210 senior, and also Nick Mitchell were there, and I'm sure Sims has run that option a few times, and they were going to try to run it a lot for a linebacker to run it downstairs quite a bit.
Well, discussing that play, Josh did a great job of getting away from the initial hit and was about to take off, and he lost his footing, and he laid the ball on the turf, and it laid there until Hurtado picks it up for Waco.
Yeah, he tried to use his hand, which is just a normal human reaction, to stop himself, and
the ball was in his hand, and he let it go.
The force of hitting the ground, double tight set here, second down and 10. Sims eyes straight right behind him. Back to throw, rolls to the near side. Looks for the tight end over the middle. Pass is caught. First down at the 15. And finally, somebody in a Waco High uniform caught the football. Nick Mitchell and Takarian Cuba were there. And they found the big tight end, Brandon Fletcher, for a gain of 14 yards.
Nice play for Waco, and Fletcher just takes off from the outside, cuts across the middle on about a 10-yard curl or cross pattern, and he's there to make the catch as Sims rolls out, and he does it quite well with his speed to complete.
Minute into the second quarter, Betters to the far side, and now Waco High with a different look in their eye after the big turnover. Offset eye, Halbert the deep back. They pitch it to him. He leaves it on the ground. He's going to lose a lot of yardage because Warren DeHaven is there. Boy, he is a load to bring down. And also there, Cole Skates with a big loss of about 8 or 9 back to the 21-yard line.
Well, he bobbled the ball, and he was dead to rights as 3 red shirts are there to meet him. DeHaven had to fight, and I'll tell you what, Halbert, he's a very strong young man. He has a great bit of will, and he does not want to fall to the ground. It takes 3 or 4 red shirts to toast him off.
5'11", 190 senior, but he had 21 carries for 100 yards exactly in the win against Clemens, but he looks a lot thicker than that. At the 21-yard line, Sims runs that quarterback draw, gets loose. Look at him, 15. What tremendous speed down inside the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Waco High. And that's the play I was talking about, that when you can run the ball up the middle, it sets up that quarterback, kind of a sprint draw. And Carl Sims, he's a magician, and he goes 21 yards, and all of a sudden, we've got ourselves a ball game, 17-6 Waco High with 10:07 to go in the first half.
And it really just freezes the defense when he's able to pull off the fake, and then he just cuts through a nice little hole to the left-hand side, picked up from Justin Scott block, and Joe Wiley as well with a nice opening block for Waco, and he just dances on into the end zone.
Julian Veracruz, the kicker, 4 extra points, 4 for 4 last week, and a field goal. And he will kick with Sims the holder. Snap, hold, kick, it is good. And our score, with 10:07 to go, second quarter, Waco High has scored to cut the lead of Lee to 17-7 back in 60 seconds.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine and Tyler.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there. We're there with nearly 50 degrees and certificates and as many as 400 continuing education classes. Wherever you want to go, we can take you there because we're right here. Tyler Junior College.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
It was 17-0 lead. They had the ball at midfield, but the turnover has given Waco High a little extra zip in their step, and they score on a Carl Sims 21-yard touchdown run.
Waco goes 4 plays, 27 yards and 144, and they made it a 10-point game now, David, as we really get going here in the second.
Veracruz, the kicker, after the extra point, will kick deep. Back deep is Aputica and Jason Williams, and this is a kick that Peyton Price will field at about the 15. 20, runs into his own man who was trying to come back, and there's a late hit at the end of the play, but no flag. And that time Lee kind of ran into each other at about the 25-yard line, and the Red Raiders back on offense. Again, let's reset the offensive line. Saron Black and Sam Banks at left tackle and guard. Center is Blake Larman. Right tackle or right guard is Brian Culp. His brother Steven was injured in that TCU double overtime win last night against Northwestern. Hopefully things are going to be okay with him. And Matt Holland, the right tackle. John Giles, the H-back. Offset eye, Bush the split receiver. Back to throw, Josh Hill runs that quarterback bootleg at the 25, down at the 30, and here's a flag down at the end of that play. Maybe a frustration play by 48 Andre Henry, who had been running all over the field to get up with Josh. And you know what? That was the exact same play that a year ago, almost the exact same spot on the field, when Josh ran that bootleg on the first play of the game and lost himself for the rest of the game because he got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that was started about the 30 on that play, if I remember, and it happened right near midfield, and he was bruised ribs and all, had to come on out. Of course, his little brother saved the day on that.
Then his little brother engineered a drive. Remember, Brandon Pettigrew caught a little crossing pattern for a touchdown, and eventually Keandre Smith had the 52-yard run that set up another score, and they win 32-22. 15 yards, late hit against Henry, and Lee now at the 45-yard line. 9:55 to go, second quarter. 17-7 Red Raiders. Josh back to throw, steps up, pumps, now wants to step up, has some room to run. 40-45 midfield, knocked down after a gain of 8 by Sean Brown, who just kind of runs into him, and that's enough to knock most anybody down. But a nice pickup again by Josh Hill, and he was going for the pump again, Randy, with a gain of 8.
Well, give credit to Andre Henry for forcing him back inside where he took the big hit from Brown, but a great bit of athleticism for Josh Hill getting into the open. Really couldn't find a receiver downfield. The protection was still there and very good for Robert E. Lee, and a nice pickup for Josh.
Jonah Murphy now, the tight end on the far side, as Lee goes with a receiver that is Jacob Amy, the sophomore. Josh, wingback reverse, Tyrone tries to get outside, needs a block, cuts it up, 45, 40, gets outside, 35, one man to beat, he gets around the corner, down to the 20, no flags, and a gain down to the Waco High 17, 18, or 19-yard line is where it is, gain of 27 yards, and Jonah Murphy, we called his name when he jumped off sides a little bit early. What a great kickoff block he had that time.
Well, he takes out the defensive end, Andre Henry, on that play, and Ross reads it beautifully and cuts back inside and takes out to the wide side of the field with a nice big gainer.
And Tyrone just chopping those feet when he had a chance to cut. We've seen a lot of cutbacks against this team that's got such great penetration and quickness. At this 19-yard line, Josh, sprint draw, Jason Williams, off left tackle, runs over a man, down inside the 10, close to another first down. Rashad Johnson, the safety, makes the stop, and I think that turnover may have upset the Red Raider offense, just shy of a first down.
Really, their first big one here in the second week of the season. They had one late in the game last week, but it didn't matter. But I'll tell you what, they have it going offensively. They just are so perfect and precise in what they do. The blocking is there, and everything's falling into place for Lee.
Jason Williams just ran right over the 180-pound senior. He's a junior, Jason Williams. Gain of 10, just shy of a first down. Williams, lone setback, left tackle, bootleg. Hill's in trouble, and he's sacked. And he had 3 receivers and 1 man in the secondary to cover him, Chris Johnson. And Josh loses his footing, LaQuantum McDonald. And Josh loses a ton of yards, and now instead of what was basically second down and a yard, it's a loss of 11. It's second down and 11.
Well, that's huge, and just give credit up front to those big lads for Waco as they made pressure count and Josh had no way to get the ball open to a 3-to-1 ratio on the far side in favor of his receiver.
So it's kind of a waste down when it's second down and a yard like that, but it's a waste down that you don't want to lose 11 yards, and now they got the sticks all mixed up.
Yeah, third down over there. It's just second. So.
No, it is third down. Jason Williams picked up 9.5.
Okay.
Josh is sacked for 11. Jacob Amy and John Williams, by the way, continue to rotate at wide receiver along with Bush and Simpson. And now Lee with the ball. And again, I hate to bring this up again, but they had the ball inside the 5 earlier. They settled for a field goal, and they had the ball down inside the 10 here, and now they've got third and long. Bush and Simpson near side. Josh back to throw. Here comes the screen pass. Can he get it off? No, tipped away and incomplete. And Waco High's defense is taking it to a different level now, as they're starting to get a rhythm on the Lee offense. And a wasted drive here if Les Cole Skates can come up, as McDonald again had the sack. Now he bats one down. Now Cole Skates, 5 of 6 last week in extra points. He has kicked 6 field goals in his career prior to tonight, so this will be a 37-yard attempt. Giles the deep snap. Preston Hill will hold. 17-7 Lee with 7:51 to go in the first half. Cole Skates, also a All-State candidate at linebacker, has plenty of power in that leg if he gets a clean snap. Snap, hold, kick. Cole, long enough, far enough, right down the gut, good enough. 7:49 to go. You know what I love about field goals? They all count 3 points at a time, baby. 20-7. Robert E. Lee up by 13 back in 60 seconds.
To see this sign on your house, put this sign out front. Century 21 Advantage. Call or visit our website.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Cole Skates a 37-yard field goal to add on to an earlier 27-yarder. 7:49 to go first half. 20-7 Lee, and Skates with a very high, just a little shorter this time, and Johnson at the 7. Looks for his wedge at the 10, 20, outside 25, and he's off to the races. He will be cut from behind by Lee at the 43-yard line, and that's Quet Nicholson. And Cole Skates, the kicker, not a bad guy to have back there as a kicker. Remember, Cody, his brother, was a great safety here at Lee before he went on to be a star at A&M, and now just waived last week by the Patriots after the preseason. But Waco High with a little more energy and a little more urgency when they have the football.
Lee goes 6 plays, 54 yards, and it's capped with a 37-yard field goal from Cole Skates.
So Waco High and Carl Sims, the quarterback, the little general, after the 21-yard touchdown run at their 44-yard line. Lee has had 2 times inside the 10. They've come away with field goals. Sims back to throw, rolls to the near side. He's all by himself. DeHaven tries to get to him. He will run between DeHaven and Heap, and eventually knocked out of bounds right there by DeHaven, but he got a first down, and Carl Sims is starting to get loose on the outside against Robert E. Lee. It's a gain of a first down.
I don't know if we want this to turn into a track meet or not, but Lee has a little bit of an edge currently, but Waco has seized momentum moving the ball, and with that little magician at quarterback, anything is possible.
Well, and then all of a sudden he starts thinking he can do things. You start wondering if he can, and now they had him hemmed in. And I think what Johnny Toos has done and said, I'm going to keep the ball in Sims' hands. He's my guy, although Halbert had that big run. So Waco High now down by 13, but they've got to feel like they're pretty fortunate where it is after Lee's had the ball at the 5 and the 10 and come away instead of 14 with 6 overall. Here's the tailback for about 5-10, first down inside the 40, down to the 35-yard line, and that's the backup tailback, Tony Jones, who last week had 10 carries for 21 yards.
Nice hole open up on the left side for Waco High. Joe Wiley and Israel Berlonga make nice blocks up the middle, and it opens up the hole for Jones to dance through and a big gain on first down.
Osborne checks out for Lee. Back in the game is Sam Banks. Looks like we might see more of Sam and Saran at defensive tackle in that rotation. Basically a three-man front for Robert E. Lee. Red Raiders defensively say, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? We're pretty good, and they've scored the last drive, and they got another nice drive going here with 7:20 clock running and down 13. Sims splits 2 receivers far side. Lone setback is Jones. Betters to the near side. Takes his time, looks over the lead defense. Sims, play action, rolls to the near side. Now wants to throw, pass caught, nope, dropped right through the hands of the fullback, and that's why he's probably a fullback. Dearius Simmons. Coverage that time by Lance Heap. Nice pressure for Lee to get him to throw the ball before he wanted to.
And that was linebacker Cole Skates right in his face. Really forced him to throw the ball, like you said, just before he wanted to. But the key to that is he kept him from running the ball and getting out wide, kept him inside.
The fans tonight don't seem as vocal as they were a week ago against Port Arthur Memorial. Things came so early and easy, I guess, that maybe everyone's got to get back into this thing. Second down, Sims, I formation. Deep pitch back to Jones, tries to cut it up, not much there. Skates forced him back inside. Nick Mitchell cleans it up, and Skates that time met the fullback at the point of attack, and he got maybe a half a foot or two.
When you ask yourself, how does someone the size of Cole Skates at 5'10", 215 burrow through 250-pound linemen? He just out-quicks him. He gets him at the point of pressure, and he blasts right through and makes a nice play.
If you're 260, 245, it's great that you're that big. If you can get on him, you can't get to him. You can't get your body on him. Third down, Sims back to throw, rolls to his right. Has pressure, throws, pass incomplete, covered there by Micah Johnson. And Lance Heap was in the way, although he was not close to picking that thing off, but he was just enough in the passing lane where Sims had to shoot it airborne into the track, and it brings up a fourth down in what appears to be 4-down territory for Johnny Toose's Lions.
That's great technique and teaching for young safeties and such. Heap just reads the quarterback's eyes, and he falls along to the near side of the field and is right in his way of the intended receiver, and the pass is like 5 yards over.
Jacoby McKenzie comes out. Big number 66, Gabriel Lacey, the senior, is in at defensive tackle. Big fourth down here with 6:23 to go in the second quarter. Lee up by 13. Sims. They run the quarterback fake draw, going over the middle, pass overshoots his intended receiver, and if that thing would have been thrown well, Micah Johnson gets his second interception, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, well, he's there right on the tail of the receiver Betters, and he follows him all on the way, and Sims just really overthrew it by about 7 or 8 yards, and Lee's defense really answers this time and makes a big stop against Waco High.
That's exactly right. Craig, have you gotten a feel a little bit on, after the great start from this team, if they lose a little bit of an edge in trying to get it back?
Yeah, you could definitely see after Waco scored that everybody kind of started jumping around on their sidelines. You could see their heads swagging a little bit. I mean, you could tell that they got some momentum from that play. But Lee looks like they're trying to get back in here with the defense stepping up real big.
Well, and then again, here's another one of those mental mistakes and a pre-snap penalty against the Red Raiders. And this is eventually going to have to be something you iron out. And it's amazing they're able to do it against the teams of Memorial and Waco High and get away with it so far. But again, you lose 5 yards. This is a very explosive offense, Randy. But after 164 yards passing in the first quarter, Lee has not completed a pass in the second quarter.
Well, they've really just kept the ball on the ground, and I don't know if that's conservative or not, but one way or the other, Lee can do it, and they show such balance offensively, both throwing and running. And we'll see what happens the rest of the season.
D'Angelo Jones to the near side. H-back is John Giles. Offset I. Josh to Tyrone. Makes the first man miss into the secondary and gets most of it back and about 7 more. Boy, he just kind of went right through a bunch of guys looking. Well, who's got? He's gone. Andrew Hurtado makes the stop out to the 42-yard line and a gain of 12 yards.
Well, he just keeps his legs churning, David. He carries 2 or 3 tacklers with him every time. And for someone that's 5'8", 195 pounds, he shows great strength, leg strength too.
Tyrone came into the game with 3,112 yards rushing. Second down and 3, offset I again. There's that stretch play, and Tyrone makes the first man miss and kind of lays down at the 45. Sean Brown on the stop, but I think he might have a first down right at the 45-yard line. Just all depends on the mark, and now he's just shy based on where we see the sticks. And the umpire that time moved it back to where he initially hit the ground. He had laid it on the 45. They will measure here. 5:32 to go first half. Again, it's 20-7. Lee up 13, and they'll measure. And don't forget our Kid Jones halftime report. Kid Jones Convenience Stores, the fastest in Texas with name brand gas, clean lit stores, and everything you need for the game. Whether it's tonight or this weekend, Kid Jones all over East Texas.
Lee's offensive line on the right side pulls on that stretch play coming near side when the flow comes left, and Tyrone just lets him get by, and then he tries to cut back against the grain. And just a nice bit of offensive execution again. And, I believe Lee's offensive line is even faster than it ever before, too.
Yeah, I think Gary Fleet has had the monsters. He's had the big old hairy uglies,
6'4",
right? I mean, he's had those guys. And then
yeah.
he's also had, last year was more of an undersized group that he's ever had. This is more of the guys in between. It helps when you've got the human island on left tackle to kind of anchor everything. And then Sam Banks, you talk about a guy who's improved every week from the time he started last year. Amy to the near side, Bush in the slot. Peyton Price, the H-back, back to throw. Josh has a lot of time. Going deep, that's Peyton Price, and he throws into double coverage, and that thing just didn't look good from the beginning, even though he had a lot of time. Johnson and Johnson, sounds like Arm and Hammer. They're back in coverage that time for Waco High at 2nd and 10.
It's probably ill-advised to throw in the double coverage. He didn't see the safety coming over until too late. But once again, he had a good 4 or 5 count sitting in the pocket to throw the ball as Lee's offensive line, the smaller Big Uglies, do a great job of protection.
So the Lee will bring in some new receivers. Peyton Price is also going to come out of the game along with Bush. And it's Simpson in the slot and Williams far side. D'Angelo Jones near side. Back to throw. Here comes the blitz. Josh steps up. Sideline. Nice catch by D'Angelo. Right at the 45, right near the sticks. Just shy. He's hit by Brian Tucker. Nice job, and Josh took a shot after the throw, but he drills a gain of 10 yards. Very close to a first down, but just shy.
Well, that shades of Matt Flynn with the arm strength on that pass play. Jones runs a nine-yard out pattern right along the sideline, and it's drilled right on top of his arms from quarterback Josh Hill.
So nice catch by D'Angelo Jones, and unless I'm wrong, that's his first catch ever. Now Lee will get the first down as they just kind of nudge it down inside the 45, and the clock at 4:59 to go. Josh Hill with the first down. Josh had 42 yards rushing last week on 3 carries on those little bootlegs, and he got a yard right there.
He's just very efficient. As long as he can keep hold of the ball and not get hurt, David, he has such quickness and such intelligence of running the quarterback spot. He's the straw that stirs the drink for Robert E. Lee.
Jason Williams with that left calf taped is the H-back. I formation, Price and T.Y. behind Josh. Wingback reverse, Jason Williams finds a seam, first down 40, 30, inside to 30, down to the 23-yard line, and a great block. Chris Johnson knocks him out of bounds, but I think that time that again Lee ran those pulling tackle guard combo of Banks and Black. Sounds like a law firm, and John Giles with the kick-out block on the defensive end and linebacker, and Jason picks up 22 yards.
The sledgehammer, Jason Williams, just takes it. He finds the hole, and he's into the secondary very quickly. The offensive line, as you mentioned, pulling from the right side. Banks that time with a great clear-out block on Henry.
Amy to the near side. In the slot, it's Giles. Offset eye. This is Josh. They run that sprint draw. T.Y. not much room. Now he'll be kind of patient. Cut it up. Look at this. 20, 15. Look at him go. Inside the 15 to the 10. And T.Y. made something out of nothing. Gain of 14. Brooks in the stop.
Wow. He is very, very patient, David. I think he's matured so much in the last year with the patience, finding the hole. He looked and really nowhere to go. His 4 or 5 white shirts are there. He just dances back inside and makes something big, and nice first down gain for Tyrone Ross.
Tyrone now, after a slow start, 10 carries for 78 yards. Williams now in the tailback, and he made a juke play on Dante Ward, who's still looking for the jock. First down, stretch play, Jason Williams. He cuts it against the grain, and now, well, wait a minute, they fumbled the football. They have fumbled the ball, and Waco High has recovered. That's the second fumble this year, and Jason Williams coughs it up, and Lee with a third now drive. Randy, third time inside the 10. They've had 2 field goals, and they must have just run right into each other because nobody saw it until Doyle Pogue, the official, the referee, ran over and said that's a fumble. And boy, you can't give up that many type of opportunities against a good football team.
So you're going in to cash in and try to take a 3-touchdown lead right before the half. And really the connection was never made from quarterback. It appeared to me that Peyton Price was going to get the carry, but he never had it. And then the handoff goes out wide to Williams. He never got a handle on the football.
First down, Sims now with a lot of time. 4:16 to go from his 10. Lee now with more than just the three-man front. They run at the fullback. Halbert up the gut. He's into the secondary. 20, 25, 30. And Waco High gashes the defense for a gain of 23 yards.
Huge.
Mitchell saved maybe a touchdown.
Wow, huge play for Waco. Nice hole straight up the gut, and Halbert runs with authority. And when Lee's on their heels now, all of a sudden they have to buckle down and make sure that Waco does not get any more points here in the half.
You cannot turn the football over in the red zone. First down, Waco High with 4 minutes to go in the first half. Down 13. Sims, fullback. Gain of about 5 more up the gut, and Waco High's offensive line starting to lean on an undersized lead defensive line. Gain of 6. Van Zandt on the stop. Dominique, the 6'1", 190 senior. James Wilson in the game as well for Robert E. Lee.
That's Waco High's vintage power running game. And, you know, we've seen it 4 or 5 times now where they are able to just dominate the line of scrimmage, and Lee's got to keep that from happening and make a pursuit inside.
Mumphrey out for Robert E. Lee. Justin Simmons at one of the defensive end positions. Here's the fullback again for close to a first down. I don't think he got he's getting a good mark. I don't think he got it, but it looks like, oh, that's getting better. As the official goes closer to midfield, he keeps going to the right. That's a first down now. Justin Simmons on the stop. He landed on the 44. They will mark him past the 44 and a half, and that's going to be a first. I'll tell you, now remember now, it's 20-7. Waco High has the football with 3:24 to go. There's plenty of time with the speed on either one of these teams, and they get to start the second half with the kickoff return. Remember, they deferred the opening coin toss.
You know, every Lee possession has gone into Waco territory with the exception of the fumble at the 25-yard line that Waco cashed in on.
Wow, what a good mark he got there. And timeout Lee. Defensively, Lee looks confused for the first time this year. 3:24 to go in the first half. We're back in 1 minute on News Talk 600 KTBB.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Robert E. Lee, in some cases, has dominated this game, but turnovers and blown opportunities in the red zone. Waco High with the football at the 44. Lee up 13 with 3:24 to go in the half. Sims I formation. And they've moved Halbert to the tailback here. Sims has room. First down midfield. Down to the 45 of Lee. And another first down. That stops the clock. They move the chains. Cole Skates with a first down stop, but a gain of 11 yards for Carl Sims. And this is a pretty good defensive team we've talked about at Lee. Now, they're not playing with Jason Stripling, but hey, Waco High's got some numbers on them right here, and Lee right now is out of position on a couple of plays.
Great play calling from Waco's offensive coordinator, too. Running the ball inside several straight times, and then they switch outside with Sims and on the bootleg, or actually the option, and he keeps the ball for a nice pickup of 10.
And, of course, Carl Sims has a lot to do with all this because he's such a tremendous guy with the ball in his hands. James Wilson playing that defensive end on the near side for Lee, 3-man front. 1st and 10, Sims with a fullback. Fumbles the football, and maybe Lee gets a break. Cole Skates and Lance Heap down at the bottom of the pile. And check it, it's 82 James Wilson. Is that right?
He's clapping his hands.
Craig, did you see who came up with the football? Or was it Cole Skates?
It looked like Cole Skates from my vantage point, but there's about 3 or 4 guys around, so I didn't get a good look at exactly who it was.
Kerry Ainsworth confirming it was Cole Skates. We couldn't see because after everyone got up, nobody had the ball anymore. And Waco High with a huge turnover, and Lee's defense. Remember, Dominique Van Zandt had the fumble recovery return last week that helped set up a touchdown. First down, Lee at the 44. Josh, T.Y., 45 midfield, into the secondary, first down at the 44, gain of 12, and he was one man away from taking that about 60. Nice stop, though, and a good hit by Brian Tucker. Good downfield block by Giles, and Tucker and Johnson make the stop in a gain of 11.
Great block as well from Saron Black on the point of attack, opening the door for Tyrone Ross on the trap play, and another first down for Lee.
Right now, Lee offensively trying to regain what was an amazing first quarter. 2:45 to go in the half. Here's the fullback, Price, secondary, 40. Look at him go. 15, 10, 5, count it off. That looked like the old Nebraska option fullback trap. Touchdown, Robert E. Lee, 45 yards, and Blake Larman, Brian Culp, what a great block inside.
Almost as if they lulled the defense to sleep. Just a massive hole opens up for Peyton Price, and he's got great speed. No one even near him as he gets around the 25, and he goes in the end, sails in the end zone for 6 for Robert E. Lee.
You know, some fullbacks, you're giving the ball and about 8 to 10 yards down the field, they're looking for a linebacker to hit. They kind of want contact. Peyton looks like a sprinter on a 4x100, and again, he's now had 2 long touchdowns this year, his third, and Lee will go for 2 here. 26-7 with 2:36 to go, and the momentum Waco High had for now has been halted. 2 receivers this way. T.Y. the lone setback. Josh, play action, rolls to his right, trying to keep it around the corner, makes a man juke. Did he get in? What an effort by Josh. Good for 2 more. He split the linebacker at the goal line. 28-7 Lee. 2:36 to go in the half. Everything's back to normal, back in 1 minute.
Here's a question. If you needed your insurance, who would you call? Not the name of the company, but the name of the person. You've got 2 seconds. Coming up blank, you may want to consider Allstate. You'd have a local agent you can count on, a licensed professional whose name you know, not just a number. You deserve a relationship with a real person.
For all your insurance needs, call the McIntyre Insurance Agency in the Albertson Shopping Center.
Lee had a couple of blown opportunities in the red zone, but my goodness, after they turn it over, they then get the turnover. Cole skates, the defense gets a big play, and Peyton Price, after a couple of Tyrone Ross runs, goes 48 yards for the touchdown with 2:36 to go in the half, and here comes Skates with the kickoff. Very high, nice, very good cover kick. Halbert about a couple of yards deep. He doesn't want anything to do with that Lee wedge that's going to knock him down, and it's a 20-yard line for Waco High.
Robert E. Lee responds after the turnover. They cash in 3 plays, 56 yards in 22 seconds from Peyton Price with a nice jump straight up the middle, and then Josh Hill adds a 2-point conversion on the run. And there we stand, David.
So Lee makes the turnover happen with their second turnover. Remember, Micah Johnson had the interception. Right. And Lee's defense, after they got gashed a couple of times, huge play there. And now 28-7, and Waco High back at their 20. From the 20, Sims, the quarterback. Offset eye behind him, tight end far side. Sims bootleg, rolls to the far side. Now throws and caught, dropped. Boy, he's had a lot of passes dropped. Now, defensively, the tight end that time, 36 Stewart, the ball was slightly behind him. Ajiki was in coverage, but that was Brandon Fletcher. You got to make that catch.
And you have to execute that, and that would have been a nice gainer for Waco. And Sims has plenty of time as he rolls around the far side of the field. Has a little pressure, too, from Dominique Van Zandt at the last moment, forcing him to throw the ball probably a little wildly than he had wanted to.
Now, Johnny Tusa told me that when the games start to get more and more important as the year goes on, that Sims will become much more, he'll run it instead of throw it. He's trying to get some of these young receivers in the game. Draw play, Halbert, 23-yard line. A nice play by McKenzie and Sherfield. And the big fire hydrant in the middle, 44. Warren DeHaven making the stop. And we've told you Warren playing with torn meniscus in one of his knees.
That's tough, I'll tell you. That kind of thing hurts pretty big time, but Lee's defense holds them at bay, and another big third down upcoming for Waco.
Mike Owens, Jay Law, and Randy Huffstickler are hoping that Saron and Sam Banks play defensive tackle at times, but McKenzie and Lacey and Osborne giving them a rotation where they may not have to play that much. Sims, slant pass, caught, first down 30. He got inside Micah Johnson, who also is down on the turf and grabbing his right arm. I hope he's okay. Gain of 11 yards to Hicks, and that's a nice job, and they were able to give him a little time. And now Micah Johnson is in pain at the 38-yard line. 1:48 to go in the first half.
Official timeout.
And it's 28-7, and then Micah will come off the field under his own power. And that's got a Jay Law's and Randy Huffstickler's heart just came through their throat right there.
That's a fantastic
because he's a tremendous cover corner, and you can't get enough of them. And now number 7 for Lee, Jeremy Moore will come in. Jeremy, the 5'9", 160 junior, and Craig will try to get an update on Micah may have hurt his shoulder or an arm on that play, but a gain of 11 and a first down.
Sherfield just missed it leaping into the air after the pass on the 7-yard slant. Sherfield just missed the pass off the hands of Sims.
Hicks with a catch, 1st and 10, Waco High, minute 30 to go in the first half. At their 34, I formation, Sims rolls to the near side, now has to throw it, picked off, no, almost intercepted by Ajiki, who got in front of the tight end, Brandon Fletcher. Nice pressure from Sherfield and Banks, and Sims throwing against his body, back against the grain. That's a dangerous throw.
Well, and what's happening too, David, his movement, for whatever reason, he's launching the ball a little high, his delivery's high, so the passes are sailing, and that's 4 or 5 times the passes have sailed over intended receiver.
Couple of scores again. Longview and Neville even 7 apiece. Lufkin leading at Eisenhower 22-0 first half, and Plano East is leading in their game 21-0. An update in a moment. First to second down. Halbert trying to bounce outside. Will get a couple of yards, and that time a much better job by the Lee defense to run to the football on him because he's a hammer, and he got just a couple of yards. Sam Banks and Cole Skates were there. Plano East, by the way, leading North Mesquite 21-0 in that game.
Whoa. Stringing the play out nicely. Also, DeHaven, give him credit too. And from the cornerback position on the far side for Lee, number 14 does a great job too. That would be Nicholson.
Not much urgency here from Waco High with under a minute to go in the game, and they should have had a 5-yard penalty with the guy coming off the sideline, but they called timeout, and we will as well. 49 seconds to go, first half. Robert E. Lee 28, Waco High 7. We're back in 1 minute.
Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Represent your team like never before. On the field, on the court, it's all in our store. The spirit of your team, the season of your dreams. Looking for the victory, we've got what you need. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics.
3rd down and 8 for Waco High from their 36-yard line. Under a minute to go in the first half. There's motion. Sam Dancer dancing a little bit too quick. 6'1", 310. When you're 6'1", 310 and you move early, everybody notices.
You can see that big guy. He pulls up just a second before the snap from center to the quarterback.
On the offense, 5 yards, remains 3rd down.
Doyle Pogue, again the officials for the Tyler Lone Star chapter. And it's 3rd down now and 13, and the clock, of course, had stopped at the timeout with 47 to go. Wouldn't you like to see him stop him here and get Tony Bush on a punt return?
Oh, yeah.
Last year, Jamal Sherm had a big punt return. Procedure again, and Sam Dancer. Either he or Demetrius Johnson moved early, and Waco High going backwards, and every 5 yards it gives Lee, if they can stop him on 3rd down, if they can stop the clock as well, and Lee's got a timeout to go, a chance to give Tony Bush a return, who knows. Jeremy Moore remains in at left corner. On the other side, of course, is Wet Nicholson. You don't hear much of him. They have not tested him much, but he's made some tackles. Safeties are Nick Mitchell and Eric Ajiki. Lance Heap in the game at that bandit position. And Dominique Van Zant, DeHaven, and Skates are the linebackers. Sims from his 26 after another procedure. Draw play, Halbert. Nice job by Dominique Van Zant. He got through Cole Skates, but Cole slows him down enough to turn him the other way. Timeout Lee here to try to set up a return, but Cole slows him down enough to give Dominique a chance to clean him up and mop it up in a gain of a couple of yards.
Great tackling, too. He got him right around the waist, too, David, and Halbert could not get away from the Dominique Van Zant claw hold.
And these linebackers can get to the football with Skates and Van Zant, and when Stripling is in there as well.
Impressive.
You got so much speed. Johnny Tusa was talking to me during the week, and I've known Johnny for a long time. And, you get to know the coach speak and what a coach really is trying to say, because sometimes they kind of throw you a couple of curveballs, But Johnny told me, he goes, David, you know me. And this is off the, we're off the, not recording. He said, what Mike Owens is, I told you, what he's done over a building block period of time is truly amazing. The best job I've ever seen of building block from one year to the next, slowly but surely. He said, and what they now have with the speed on defense, they've always been a very well executed coach team on offense. They could fool you a lot. But now they used to have all their best athletes on offense. He goes, now you can see a lot of their great athletes on defense as well, where you could always try to maybe take advantage of the defense. You can't do that as much anymore.
Well, great coaching added with a great influx of talent over the last few years, and speed has been the big difference for Lee thus far.
Sims is back to punt. Snap from the 29, and Tony Bush is at his 35 here. 37 seconds remaining first half. Sims gets it off and shanks it. Hits at the 40. This will get close to midfield and stop right about there at the 50-yard line, and that is not what Johnny Tusa wanted to see. And poor Carl Sims, who's probably pretty tired, had that one shanked. 27 seconds to go, and just enough time for this octane offensive Lee to maybe get some more points on the board.
Well, they would like to at least get a field goal try with 2 or 3 plays downfield, but another touchdown wouldn't hurt Mike Owens' feelings at all.
Josh Hill has 173 yards passing here the first half, 164 in the first quarter. He's in the shotgun, 4 wide outs. Here's a blitz from Sean Brown, who's licking his chops, and Saran said, no. And not sure if his movement forced Saran to move. I think it's against Waco High. They dropped through the neutral zone, and there's 5 more yards. So they've had, if you think about this, Randy, a procedure call, another procedure call, offsides. It's 15 freebies for Robert E. Lee.
Well, Waco now has 6 penalties in the game, and 5 of them have been the procedure or offsides variety. And they had the also the personal foul that was a 15-yarder a little bit earlier in the second quarter.
So Lee will take the snap. No time came off the clock with 27 seconds to go. And Sean Brown, you don't think he wanted to come after the quarterback right there? Saran was trying to be there to protect his buddy Josh. Hill in the shotgun, 4 wide outs. Here comes the trouble. He gets around in the right corner, has a man open. That's Bush. Makes a driving catch at the 30-yard line. 20 yards, 15-yard pickup, stops the clock at the 19-yard line, and Tony Bush, what a catch.
Wow, and that was just great execution once again, as Hill has to roll out, and he makes the completion to Hill, diving and sprawling out with a fantastic catch.
First down at the 30 now. They'll set the chains, 19 seconds to go, and you think he'll spike it on this play. He does. A couple of seconds come off the clock, and Josh has a kiss and hug with the defensive end. That's Andre Henry, who had a sack earlier in the first half. So now from the 30, and remember, you've got the leg of Cole Skates in the wings, who's already kicked field goals of 27 and 37 yards. He's got a career long, I think, of 52, and you know who that was against? Waco High at their stadium back in the year 2001. He was a freshman. Here's a high snap to Josh. He comes down with it, now steps up in pressure. Going into the end zone, it's going to be picked off. His receiver fell down. That ball is loose. Nope, it's not. I'm sorry about that. It looked like a shoe that came off. As it's intercepted, and that time the receiver, Walter Simpson, slipped down at the goal line. He turns it over, and with 6 seconds to go in the half, Waco High will take over at the 20-yard line. Mike Owens will be the guest with Craig Smoke at halftime. We'll have that interview, and that is the 3rd turnover. Is that not right?
That's correct. 2 fumbles and an interception for Lee, and Waco has 2 turnovers themselves, an interception and a fumble recovery.
If Mike Owens would have been told that he was going to turn the ball over 3 times against Waco High in the first half and be up by 21, he would have slapped me. 1st and 10. And they'll just try to maybe milk this thing out. Sims runs the quarterback keeper. Well, with him, you don't milk anything out. 25-30, first down. Gain of 13 yards, but that ends the first half. And Craig Smoke with head coach Mike Owens on the sidelines. Craig?
Coach Owens, your offense was nearly flawless in the first quarter, then a couple big turnovers, and then a third one right there. Did you think going into halftime that you'd be up by this much with 3 turnovers on offense?
Well, no. I expected us without any turnovers to be up about like we were last week, but we can't continue to do that. I mean, these guys over here can play football. They get loose in the second half. We got a problem. I mean, we are going to have to score when we get in the red zone, and we are just stinking it up right now.
Waco was able to get a little bit of momentum off those turnovers. Carl Sims, you knew coming in, was a playmaker, but your defenses seemed to bend a lot but never really break.
Yeah, well, our defense doing the best they can. You know, they're out there playing so much because we keep giving them the ball in the dadgum red zone, and our defense doing a great job. The only touchdown they got, we turned it over down there to them so they could score. So, I'm just right now we got to go in, regroup, and refocus because we've lost it right now.
All right, going to halftime, 28-7. What are you going to tell your team?
Well, that's what I'm going to tell them. We got to come back out and play like 0-0 because we can't play like we've been playing, putting that ball on the ground all the time.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, Craig. Mike Owens is always one who doesn't mince many words. 28-7, Lee up by 21 halftime. We continue on KTBB from Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in viewing a spectacular halftime show presented to you by Robert E. Lee High School. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the incredible Southern Bell Drill Team and the fabulous Red Raider Band. At the 50-yard line, the Southern Bell officers are Captain Shelly Mirage, Ashley Harris, Carolyn Scott, Lindsay Dunn, Whitney Tomlinson, and Courtney Tomlinson. Left guards are right guard Alex Pierce, Joey Long, Wesley Hargrove, Ryan Harrison, Wesley Hart, and Nick Stray. The Southern Bell will be performing a screamer jazz routine to the music Think. present the pride of Robert E. Lee, the Red Raider Marching Band. And now under the field direction, head drum major Adrian Jones, assistant drum major Brian Kelly, and beer conductor David Meeks. The Red Raider Band presents part of their 2004 contest show entitled Waterworks. Tonight's selection, Rain. Selection is written by Daniel Latoya Jr. The Red Raider Band proudly presents Waterworks.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there. We're there with nearly 50 degrees and certificates and as many as 400 continuing education classes. Wherever you want to go, we can take you there because we're right here. Tyler Junior College.
I'm there. I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there.
Minute, and you know what? I gotta have help. I gotta have help on something like that. That's brand new. It's like the sideline guy. I gotta have help. I'm gonna forget. Back at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler, Waco High. Robert E. Lee about to start off the second half. Thanks to all the great sponsors we have of putting this broadcast on the air. Also the sponsors we have of our scoreboard show that comes up tonight at 10:30. Which includes Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Tyler, Peters Chevrolet, Earl Campbell's Meat Products and Seasonings, and of course, thanks to Roach's Team Supply as well for all of the help. So Peters Chevrolet, Coca-Cola, Roach's Team Supply, and Earl Campbell's Meat Products and Seasonings. His sausage is really good. He got a new thing called, what do you call it? The rope, the hot rope. It's got a little extra kick to it, Randy.
Nice to it, huh?
Got a little kick to it.
Well, you know what? If Lee can just keep possession of the football, David, make a good stop here to begin the second half as Waco will get the kick. Lee can pretty much move the ball at will like they have in the first half.
It's frightening to see what this team would do in this game tonight. You're talking about a defensive team that just hammered Church Clemens. It was 31-7, and then finally they had a couple of things happen. It was 31-7 before they gave up a couple of long runs. It was the defense, though, that scored most of the points or set up. They had recovered a fumble in the end zone. They ran back a kickoff. But the offense didn't do much for him, and that was what Johnny was concerned about. They didn't have a lot of 224
last week they
yards.
only allowed 224 the whole game.
Yeah, and they had 401 unofficially here in the first half. Tyrone Ross with 90 yards rushing, Peyton Price with 84. And again, Josh Hill completes 7 of 11 for 188 yards, which is pretty amazing. Absolutely 164 in the first quarter. Now back deep is Halbert. Big tailback Troy Halbert, who had a long run of 47 yards, ended up the half, though, with only 66 yards, which is still a good first half. But considering 44 of that came, of course, as we mentioned, on that first run he had. Look at those legs on him. Big old Earl Campbell style thighs. Craig Smoke will be on the sideline again. We'll get an update if we can on Micah Johnson. And here's Cole Skage with a very high, pretty deep, and this is going to hit at the 10 and kind of hit like a golf ball and stop. Here comes the Wedge Busters, and there's a bunch of guys in red all over the Justin Hansen and Simmons there. Ajiki, of course, is there. James Wilson is there. Takari and Cuba as well, and Lance Heap all down there along with Colby Ray for the Lee coverage team. Waco High's quarterback Carl Sims throws for 33 yards in the first half and runs for 64 more, including the score. Darius Simmons and Troy Halbert are the running backs, and Betters and Hicks the wide receiver. They start off tight end near side. At the 16-yard line, Sims runs the option, pitches wide to Halbert, and he's tracked down from behind by Warren to Haven. And when a big guy like that, nice play by Warren to trail the play, grab him by the hips and run him down to the ground. Don't try to hit him on those legs right there, because you're going to bounce off like a bowling pin.
Well, they forced the quarterback to make the pitch at the last second. He acted like he wanted to do a little stutter step and run, but he pitched the ball outside, and DeHaven, trailing the play, wraps up on Halbert for a short gain.
First final tonight, Longview wins a big game in Shreveport against Monroe, 14-7. Second down and 7 here. Sims deep pitch back to Halbert, trying to find some room, and he's going backwards. DeHaven, Skates, and Sherfield were there. Second down and 7 it remains, and that time Halbert got twisted around and may have lost a little ground and The Lee defense, I'm sure, got chewed on a little bit for some missed tackles, although a very good first half.
Well, he wanted to go left, continue to go left, and then he wanted to do what he did earlier in the game and cut back against the grain, but 3 or 4 red shirts are there to greet him and bring him down for no gain.
Lee starts Jeremy Moore at the corner position in place of Micah Johnson, who we mentioned had the stinger, and we'll have an update from Craig in second. 3rd and 7 here. Waco High desperately needed a first down. Sims rolls to the right, looks for a block on Sherfield, throws it past, incomplete. Great coverage by Moore, and again Lance Heap was in the vicinity. Craig Smoke with an update on cornerback Micah Johnson. Craig?
Yeah, you mentioned Micah Johnson with that stinger, and you're going to be seeing a lot of Jeremy Moore because they said it's about 99.9% that Johnson will not return tonight.
Okay, and of course they hope he doesn't have to come back in the game, so now the offense can try to get some great field position, but Lance Heap has done a very nice job in that Jason Stripling bandit position of getting in the passing lanes of Carl Sims. Incomplete pass. Sims now goes back in punt formation. Gets it off, and nice high lazy punt, hits at the Waco High 40, bounces into Lee territory, and on that occasion, a smart thing for Tony to let that thing bounce, but almost hit up against the rear of Quet Nicholson, but doesn't go too far. Lee with great field position, 37-yard punt, no return, and the Red Raiders offense, let's set it up. Saron Black and Sam Banks, left tackle and guard. Center is Blake Larman. The right guard is Brian Culp. The tackle is Matt Holland. Tight ends, John Giles. Fullback, Peyton Price. Tyrone Ross, the tailback. Receivers are Tony Bush, Walter Simpson. It will be Giles, the H-back, far side, offset eye, and Bush split to that side as well. Josh Tyrone off right tackle for 5-6 yards, maybe 7, into Waco High territory to the 48-yard line. Shart Johnson makes the stop for the Lions.
Gashing off the right side, gets a nice block from the interior, led by Blake Larman and Brian Culp, and a nice hole opens up there, and it takes 2 white shirts in the secondary to bring down Tyrone Ross.
Tyrone now is a pretty decent carry away from 100 yards. Walter Simpson checks, I know he checks to the near side as a flanker. Jonathan Williams split far side, the junior. This is that stretch. Jason Williams outside, first down 40. Look at the block by the tight end John Giles on the safety Tyrone Brooks, and he picks up 13 yards on the carry. And it's a first down, and Jason Williams holding on to that football. He's a very talented young man, but he had the fumble in the first game and another one last time he carried it. Sam Banks leads the way downfield as well.
Well, pulling guard Banks just really makes a nice block, and it looked like he hit the middle linebacker Brown, who tried to dance around him, but Jason Williams churns upfield for 12.
So first down, Lee at the 36 of Waco High. Williams, right tackle, pulls his way down to the 30 for a gain of another 6 yards, and this very unheralded right-hand side of the Lee offensive line with Larman, Culp, and Holland doing a good job. Sean Brown and Dante Ward on the stop. We have not called Sean Brown's name as much as we thought we would tonight.
Not very often, or Brad Langford for that matter. What Lee's doing is they're just playing smash-mouth football right now.
I haven't called Langford but one time.
I think once or twice.
And he was a guy that just obliterated Samuel Clemens' offensive line. Second down 4, offset eye. Here's Peyton Price on that little fullback counter. They're ready for that, and here's a fumble on the ground. And Lee has recovered after a huge loss. So the ball again on the ground, and that's very uncharacteristic of Peyton to lose that thing. Loss of 6 yards on the play. And the only thing that has stopped this Lee offense has been the turnovers, which we have seen their history has been when they turn it over once, they turn it over 5 or 6 times. Matt Holland gets credit for a big recovery of the fumble.
Without exception, over the past 4 or 5 seasons anyway, when they lose in close games, it's because of the turnover bug. They've got to wrap up better. I promise you Monday morning or Monday afternoon when they practice, they're going to be doing some real tackling drills holding on to the football.
I think you go get some epoxy glue or something like that. Yeah. Third down here and about 10. Josh back to throw. Here's some pressure. Steps up. Sideline pass. Simpson caught it, and he got a foot down. What a tremendous diving catch at the 21-yard line. The Waco, the holding call against Lee. It's coming back. It's wasting a great catch by Walter. He and Tony Bush make some spectacular diving catches, but this is a holding call against the Red Raiders on the pass play, which would have been a first down. But this is going to cost him 10 more, and another promising drive. And Mike Owens told Craig right before the half, or after the half was over, or as they went into the half, he said, we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Well, they've just done it again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because Walter Simpson just makes a nice tight-roping catch along the sideline, stretching out, and it just wastes play, but another big third down upcoming for Lee.
It was a nice job of coverage as well from Brian Tucker. So now third down, and remember this was a 2nd and 3 at one point. So now third down and let's say 20. At the 46-yard line, Josh in the shotgun takes the snap. Now in trouble, gets away, throws it to Williams, makes the catch at about the 48, gets down to the 45, and boy, they came after Josh in a hurry. That was Reggie Young on the stop. Lee with a short gain, and they'll have to punt it here, and Josh has not had to punt the ball so far tonight.
He really had nowhere to go. He was going to try to set up the screen in the right flat to Williams. Williams is there, but there's 3 white shirts in Hill's face, and now he's going to have to punt. As you mentioned, for the first time tonight, Williams picks up 2 yards after the catch.
LaQuantum McDonald, the 6'2", 240 senior. Again, his brother LaQualian's at Baylor. And bad news for opponents, LaQuintus is on his way. Josh with his first punt of the game. Had 2 punts in the opening game. Good snap. Gets it off. Nice line drive punt that takes his man back to the goal line, and he kind of drops on it a couple of times. Carl Sims had that thing bounce into the end zone, and a nice punt by Josh Hill, whose average this year is right at 45 yards, and that's how much that one was. Even better, there was no return. 7:18 to go, third quarter. Our score, Robert E. Lee 28 and Waco High 7, but Lee had another promising drive, that a fumble that they lost what looked like a first down or close to it, and then a holding call. So here come the Lions of Waco High with Carl Sims, the deadly quarterback that at times can scare you to death if you're the defensive coaches. Here's Sims, 3-step drop pass, overshoots his intended receiver, more in the vicinity. And that time, Anthony Hicks had no chance at that pass.
Well, when you're playing from behind, it's great to have a great passing scheme, and it's probably not, it's without a doubt, it's not the strength of the Waco offense, as Sims just missed timing on nearly everything. Either it's been a drop pass by a receiver or an overthrown pass, and that time just a missed timing to his receiver.
He threw the interception to Micah Johnson, remember, and Micah almost had another one. So now second down. He's 3 of 13 passing in this game. Dominique Van Zandt comes up to the line of scrimmage. They run that quarterback draw, and he's knocked down for nothing. Ricky Sherfield with such tremendous quickness, 5'11", 183. And you know, he plays much bigger than his size, and Cordero Mumphrey got in with some penetration as well, and that's the bread and butter play for Carl Sims. He got nothing.
Well, it's the fact that Lee's defensive ends pinch in, and they really get a great jump against the offensive tackles, and due to their quickness and their speed, they're able to fly right by the tackles, and that time they did just that. Sherfield makes a nice wrap-up on quarterback Sims.
Third down, Sims from his 21-yard line, just outside the 20 actually, in the shotgun. Halbert next to him. Little short pass, caught, and Hicks is in the secondary into lead territory, and that was a very well executed slant pattern as he got inside of Jeremy Moore, knocked down by the safeties after a gain of 31 yards, and that's a big first down for Carl Sims and his Waco Lions. 6:28 to go. 6:28 to go. 28-7, Robert E. Lee here in the midway third quarter. Again, Longview with a nice road win, 14-7. Pat Collins wants to hear a little audio. Is that what he wants to do? Longview Athletic Director Pat Collins picking up some of our broadcast here. Here's Sims to Halbert, got a big hole, 45 of Lee. Here comes a flag, and he's hogtied by Lance Heap at the 43-yard line, but somebody in a white jersey grabbed a red jersey, and this is going to come back, and this third quarter is pretty sloppy.
Well, Sam Dancer had his arms around Warren DeHaven and pulled him to the ground, it appears. Wait for the call momentarily. And just when I mentioned Waco doesn't have a passing game, they blow off a 30-yard pass play on the slant pattern, and nice execution, and it's been their most successful pass play of the evening. 2 times now they've had big gainers on slants.
Well, Hicks is a good-looking receiver. He played a little receiver for them last year, remember. I had him for 2 catches for 18 yards in the first game in their win against Clemens. But this one's coming back. Halbert will get credit for a 3-yard gain. He has 11 carries for 72 yards. However, he loses a lot of that, of course, back to the 44-yard line. Midway through the third quarter, 28-7. Lee on defense trying to hold the Waco offense. Sims in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Here's that quarterback draw, tries to find room, and he slides through. There he goes. 40, 30, 20. First down, Carl Sims just slides through the defense and picks up a huge amount of yardage, and Eric Ajiki and Quet Nicholson make a big play, and here's a flag down at the end of the play as well. 34 yards by Carl Sims, and there's that bread and butter play we talked about.
Boy, he's so elusive too, David. He broke through a couple of arm tackles near the line of scrimmage, and then he juts out in the secondary. Heap tries to wrap him up, but he can't do so.
Again, Doyle Pogue, the officiating crew, and this is going against Lee.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike, on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
You play with fire too long, sometimes you can get burned, and if Lee allows Waco High to get back into this game, it reminds you of what happened a year ago. But a dead ball, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against Lee, marks it down to the 12-yard line. 5:44 to go, third quarter. Hicks split near side, I formation. They hand it to the fullback. Simmons, nothing there as Lee all over him. Sam Banks, I think, at the bottom of that pile, number 50, along with DeHaven. And no gain that time, and it is now second down and 10.
Lee wraps him up. As soon as the fullback gets the ball, there's 2 or 3 red shirts on top of him, and Banks leads the way along with DeHaven as they fight through their blockers up front.
Again right now to Carrion Cuba. The sophomore is in at safety for Robert E. Lee. Lance Heap back there as well. And again, it's Nicholson and Ajiki has moved to the corner spot. A little change there. Sims. Here's that quarterback draw. Fumbles the football. It is loose, and Lee has recovered to Carrion Cuba. And that time somebody, I don't know if Nick Mitchell, I think, may have created the problem. And the sophomore to Carrion Cuba, Dominique Van Zant, also was there to create a problem. And we're going to hear a lot about the 6'2", 82-pound sophomore.
Well, he lays a big hit, does Mitchell, as the quarterback makes the fake on the handoff and decides to run it, as he's done several times tonight with perfection. But that time, a helmet hits him on the side. The ball pops into the air. And excuse my excitement, Smokey, as the ball just went straight up in the air. I couldn't help myself.
4:55 to go, third quarter, and Lee's defense forces their third turnover. Here's that sprint draw to Jason Williams outside and has about 5, 6, 7 yards. And John Giles again, who's done a very nice job. Now, I don't know if you can ever get a better blocking tight end than what they had a year ago with Brandon Pettigrew, who's going to play on Saturdays for Oklahoma State. But John Giles, he's kind of got a little something in between the neck, if you know what I mean. He's kind of a guy that likes to scrap it up. He's fearless, and he's had a lot of problems with his back. He had a very tough offseason, but he is throwing some great blocks downfield, shielding the running backs to get some extra yardage. That was 9 for Jason. Jason again, right tackle. First down outside the 25, and Lee wants to work on that clock with 4:14 to go, third quarter, up by 21.
Well, keeping possession and time of possession is important right now here in this half, as Lee, after a couple of plays, picks up a first down here in the second half. Great blocking up front that time, too, from the center, Blake Larman, and towards the left side with Banks and Black.
Tyrone Ross is checked back in the game, and Walter Simpson will split to the near side. Tony Bush on the far end, and it's Giles, the H-back. Lone setback is Ross, who's at 100 yards. Left tackle, now he is at the 30, out to the 32. He needed 3 to get over 100. He got 4. Tyrone Brooks in the stop for Waco High. Craig Smoke has been roaming the sidelines, and checking with him in just a moment. Tyrone now with 101 yards, and what that also means is he's at a career total of 3,213, chasing Derek Farmer.
Patiently looking for the hole. He sees it open up behind Banks and Black. He stutter steps momentarily and dives forward for the short gainer.
3:29 to go. Jonah Murphy checks in at tight end on the near side. They run that stack on the far side. There's Josh in the quarterback. Keeper, 30, first down. Sarad knocks somebody down. 40, first down. Sarad peeled back. He peeled around and hit big number 99 Langford, who was trailing the play, and he picks up a first down out to the 40-yard line and a gain of 8 yards.
And Sam Banks is right in front of him, and he puts a lick on Henry. The defensive end pushes him out of the way, and a nice gain. Another first down once again for Josh Hill and company, and the Red Raiders are now moving.
You know, the only play that they have not run well, that they are very good about executing, as well as I've seen a high school football team, is the middle screen, which I think they've run that so much the teams are starting to maybe understand it a little bit, maybe getting tipped off. Jonathan Williams, the junior, split far side. Giles, the H-back, offset I. Outside, T.Y. gets a block and then gets nothing. And then the excitement after the play, a little bit too much celebration for a team down by 21, but again, Andre Henry and LaQuanta McDonald. And again, you remember before the game started, Mike said we're going to have a lot of plays where you lose yardage, but we're going to also be able to gash him a little bit, and that's what's happened, huh?
You know, he's trying to set up something probably towards the middle of the field. If it's not a pass, it's that quick slanter back inside on misdirection. We might see that.
Next week, this Lee football team goes down to a place where they've had some of their greatest wins under Mike Owens, Abe Martin Stadium in Lufkin. Bush and Simpson split wide. Simpson to the near side. Waco High dancing around. Back to throw, Josh. Sideline pass, Simpson caught, first down. You cannot do better than that. That is laser beam technology right there. Tucker could not do anything about a well-run route and a beautifully thrown pass.
And great protection up front from the Big Uglies as they keep the defense at bay, allowing Josh Hill 3 or 4 steps, and he spins around to the near side, and a great sliding catch. There's only one man could have caught that, and that's Simpson right down around his knee level.
And Matt Holland, again, the 271 senior, gaining more and more confidence as he gets right in the face of LaQuanta McDonald, gain of 15 yards, and Josh over 200 yards passing. At the Waco 48, here's T.Y. right tackle, counter Trey, and he's going to lose some more yardage, and he's now back below 100 yards. And Sean Brown that time got fed up with it and knocked him down for a loss of 4 yards. Quantum McDonald was there as well.
Well, he did a great job, did Brown, reaching around the backside. McDonald comes in to help finish him off, but they beat the block of Banks that time on the pull, on the delay, and Tyrone loses yardage again.
So Tyrone got over 100. Then he was down to 98. Now he's back to 94. Peyton Price will check in, and Lee has some confusion with one of the wideouts. And now Jonathan Williams, I think, will. This may cost him 5 yards because they've already broken the huddle, and it will. Boy, Peyton Mullins, he got real upset about that. And, you know, you have to come off the field unless you call a timeout. And you hate to waste a timeout, but it's another one of those pre-snap penalties. If procedure's one thing, but again, a player who's supposed to be on the field or not. Second down. Hey, we're talking about nitpicky stuff. This is a team
but it adds up,
that is hammering a very good Waco High team that beat Clemens last week, who lost in the semifinals to Katy, and they were leading Clemens 31-7. But this is a football program now that looks for a lot more for the big picture than it is what they're doing week to week, although you got to focus week to week with building blocks.
And Coach Owens does not like the penalties adding up, and those are the things you can correct, though. So,
hey, an upset to make it in college football based on a year ago. Washington State trailing at New Mexico with 11 minutes to go, 17-7. Josh under center. Back to throw, sets up the middle screen. He's got Tyrone. Needs a block, not much there. Here comes 2 flags. Number 61, Stephen Christian, may have gotten caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And again, we've talked about that. And this is a hard team to run the middle screen against anyway because they're so quick to the football. And this is going to cost Lee at least 10 more. Doyle Pogue talking to his officials. And here he is. Holding against Lee. We've seen now 2 drives this second half. Start off in pretty good shape, get going, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you've had a lot of hankies.
Well,
a laundromat out there tonight.
Yeah, it is, and that's 8 by my count for 52 yards against Lee. Wow. Waco has 7 for 50. Of course, one of those was a half a distance to goal, unsportsmanlike a moment ago, giving Lee that unusual amount of yardage on penalties.
3rd down and 19 now for Robert E. Lee, and Mike Owens is screaming at the huddle. I don't know if they got the proper personnel in. They do a lot of substitutions and a lot of rotation at the wide receiver position. Under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, and they finally get the clock running. It took forever. Henry, Ward, Langford, and McDonald jumping around. Look at them. like some caged animals out there for Waco High. 3rd and 19. Josh in the shotgun. From the 42, takes the snap, runs that reverse, and T.Y. is in trouble, breaks that tackle, and they say he was down, and he goes backwards again. And this is Waco High defensively. Where were these guys in the first half when they give up 401 yards? He lost another 8 yards.
They're turning it up a notch here in the second half, and they're really fired up. They're hoping that can transfer over to their offense. Lee's defense is going to have something to say about that.
Wow.
Another big loss, and now all of a sudden Ross is in the 80s.
3rd down, a third quarter has ended with our score what it was at halftime. Robert E. Lee 28, Waco High 7. We're back in 1 minute.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
To see this sign on your house, put this sign out front. Century 21 Advantage. Call or visit our website.
Justin, how much time? No music. Justin. Sorry about that. Josh Hill is down at the 27-yard line. It looks like cramps as he's trying to pull on the toe, his left foot. And man, that's a painful injury because it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And Weldon Thompson out there to give him a little treatment. 49-yard punt on the play for Lee, and Waco High will start this drive back at their 18-yard line. A great punt from Josh Hill.
And you mentioned at the beginning of the game that he was a little ill today, and this is probably dehydration has kicked in now. And
he was, he lost some fluids. I'll just put it that way throughout the day. And Josh gets up, and you also, Preston Hill, of course, his younger brother, is a guy that had a great game against Waco High, as you mentioned, Randy, a year ago, and he's starting to warm up a little bit just in case on the sideline, taking some snaps from Blake Larman. A comment from here in a minute about line coach Gary Fleet. Waco High. Sims runs the quarterback option to the far side, wants to throw, dump pass, caught Betters for about 8. To Carrion Cuba was there for Robert E. Lee for a gain of about 8, but right during that break, after that drive went nowhere and was basically disintegrated by the Waco High defense, Gary Fleet had an audience of a bunch of guys wearing 60s and 50s and 70s and 80s, and he was the only one talking, and you could hear him up here in the press box. He was trying to get across a point that execution starts and finishes when the gun sounds at the end of the game. 2nd down and 2, gain of 8 for Sims on the play. Here's the play to Halbert. Check that, that's Jones, and he has a first down. And out to the 34-yard line, Lance Heat makes the stop, and Ajiki kind of forced him out there as well. But Waco High, there's a lot of time to go, down by 21.
And as sloppy as that third quarter was, it really was a stalemate. Fortunately for Lee, they were able to do his job defensively, and Waco did a number on Lee too. And fourth quarter is underway here.
Jones picks up 7. He has 3 carries for 17 yards. Mumphrey now. Quet Nicholson has cramps for Robert E. Lee, and they've got Adrian Beard, a sophomore at one corner, Ajiki, who's a safety at the other, a sophomore safety, and Lance Heap, the senior, at the other safety spot. And remember, Jason Stripling, the bandit, is out. Here's the draw play. Sims trying to bounce it outside, and he gets loose again into the secondary. 35. Here's a flag down. This is not all coming back. Sims keeps going, and Ajiki knocks him down with Van Zandt, and everybody looks kind of winded. A holding call that will bring back part of this run by Carl Sims, who is so electrifying. LeGerald Betters, after a 42-yard gain, is hit with a holding call. And now Eric Ajiki is coming up with what looked like might be some cramps. So you got a feeling next week they're going to be running some wind sprints to try to get some of that conditioning. And this is a team that has a very serious offseason program, but they're getting winded right now. Jeremy Moore will come in. So you have your backup corners, both of them. You have two backup safeties in the game. One of them a sophomore, another corner is a sophomore, and the entire deep five for Robert E. Lee, every one of them a backup player with a game on the line right here, 28-7. Great experience,
yes, it is.
But obviously a nervous energy time for Huffstickler and Jay Law. 42 yards, and you know what? Sims has 140 yards rushing and 11 carries. First down at the 39. Crowd has gotten dead quiet. Sims, slant pattern, Hicks, first down at the 30 to the 28-yard line. And if he would have caught it in stride, he had room for more. Gain of 11 with a lot of time to go, 10:36 to go, fourth quarter.
Well, that slant play has been their bread and butter as far as passing goes. The rollouts haven't really brought them anything positive, but the 3 or 4 slant catches now for Hicks from Sims have been positive for Waco High.
Hicks has 3 carries for 53 yards, and now Hicks has hit 3 straight as he gets into a rhythm at the Lee 28-yard line. Shotgun. Sims pitches it wide to Jones around the corner. Slips down at the 20, and he had a lot of room to run as they just blew that corner wide open. And 76 that time. Justin Scott with a nice block.
Quick pitch from the quarterback, Sims. He rolls. He has 2 defenders in his face. One of them is DeHaven, it appears, and Sherfield on that side as well. He makes a pitch perfectly. Jones striding right behind him. Makes a 7-yard gain.
All of a sudden, the linebackers have not been able to get as active because they're getting in the face of them past the defensive line. 2nd down and 4. Critical drive here with Lee up by 21. Sims in the shotgun and feeling pretty good. Flag down, procedure call against Waco High, and that's going to cost him 5 yards, and a very tough mistake on the guard, Joe Wiley, 5'10", 250-pound senior. 9:43 to go. James Wilson and Justin Simmons come in, and both Mumphrey and Sherfield out for Lee, the 2 defensive ends. They got around the corner that time, which has got to concern Willie Williams, the defensive ends coach, who's done such a great job over the years. He's had some pretty good ones in Justin Warren and Nick Redwine, but he's also had the Harvey Walkers, the Tyson Boyds, and these guys here who he's created into pretty good defensive ends.
Yeah, Mumphrey, and on the other side with Sherfield, great speed.
Ajiki checks in at safety, and out of the game is Takarian Cuba. 2nd down and 8 now for Sims and the Lions, down 21. Snap. Quarterback draw around. Now you're looking for a pass. Can't find anybody. Now throws it incomplete. Well, he probably should have kept that as he got around to Haven, who forced him to throw it early. And that time, Ajiki was in coverage that time, the safety, and he kind of brings a little coolness and calmness down there for Lee on defense.
Warren DeHaven does a great job for rushing Sims, who makes a great fake once again, and that's been how he set himself up to run the ball. And he was able to get around DeHaven, but it forced him to throw the ball across his body once again, and he's not been successful doing that at all tonight.
3rd down and 9, and again, remember the young secondary in the game for the Red Raiders. Sims in the shotgun. Jones right next to him. 3-step drop, now rolls to his right, tries to get outside, throws, and knocked down. I bet that's Ajiki. Is that Ajiki? That's Eric Ajiki, who comes over and gets in the path, and now Waco High, and a 4th down conversion opportunity coming up here with 9:23 to go in the game.
It'll be their 2nd of the evening. Lee stopped them earlier in the ball game, if you'll remember, on a 4th down play, and it stopped the drive, and Lee was able to come back down and get a field goal.
Also in the game, Sam Banks for Robert E. Lee at defensive tackle. And they also bring back Cordero Mumphrey and also Ricky Sherfield. The defensive ends in Waco needs a timeout. And we'll take it with them. 9:23 to go in the game. Robert E. Lee 28, Waco High 7, back in 1 minute.
Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Represent your team like never before. On the field, on the court, it's all in our store. The spirit of your team, the season of your dreams. Looking for the victory, we've got what you need. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics. Your one-stop sports shop, Tyler Athletics.
Here's a question. If you needed your insurance, who would you call? Not the name of the company, but the name of the person. You've got 2 seconds. Coming up blank, you may want to consider Allstate. You'd have a local agent you can count on, a licensed professional whose name you know, not just a number. You deserve a relationship with a real person.
For all your insurance needs, call the McIntyre Insurance Agency in the Albertson Shopping Center.
Car shopping can be stressful. With all the clutter out there, it's hard to tell what to buy. But at Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center, we believe that the simplest way is the best way. So we offer a large selection of quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to sell with no hassles. Each vehicle has been through a 20-point inspection for quality assurance. You can shop in comfort under the awnings and check out our newly expanded lot with more inventory than ever before. Jim Lozier's Fire Station Auto Center on the corner of Glenwood and Vine and Tyler.
To tell you how far along this Lee program has come, Randy, this is a program in Waco High who had beaten Lee on 4 consecutive occasions. Lee wins last year by 10. They're up 21 here, but because they've been so impressive, we're getting a little nitpicky here. 4th down and 8. Waco High at the Lee 27. The Lee band getting loud and noise, so are the Southern Bells. Sims takes the snap, back to throw. Going deep, he's got Betters, passes overthrown. Very good coverage by Quet Nicholson, who had come back in the game, and he is still suffering some cramps out there as he does everything he can to get back, but he was in the vicinity enough to where Betters had to, again, try to leap up and catch that ball, and it would have been close whether or not he would have come back in the end zone with his feet down, and Lee's defense bends. Man, they got guys out there gutting it out because of cramps, dehydration. Cole Skates' left calf is all wrapped up. Micah Johnson's got a neck stinger, and they still bend, but they don't break. That's the most important thing.
And to top it all off, their best defensive player, probably by a slight stretch, hadn't even played tonight, and Jason Striplin.
John Giles and Tony Bush. Giles, the H, that's Peyton Price, the H-back. There's movement there, but they didn't call it. Here's Tyrone outside trying to get back over 100 at the 30. Cuts back 35 and 40 and picks up a first down and a gain of 12. Knocked down by 22, Brian Tucker, and number 3, Chris Johnson. And T.Y. picks up a first down.
And the stretch play, which is vintage Robert E. Lee, is pulled off very nicely because Sam Banks is leading the way again. He makes a nice crackback block on, guess who? Langford, who falls to his feet at number 99.
Lufkin leading Aldine Eisenhower, who lost 42-3 to the Woodlands, 38-0. Into the third quarter, and that's who Lee has as soon as this one is over, which is not. They focus on the Panthers and John Outlaw. The purple Panthers down at Abe Martin Stadium. Williams and Amy split far side. Hill, Tyrone off left tackle into the secondary, midfield, first down, over 100 yards, and it's almost as if Gary Fleet, remember, after that last drive was kind of beat up a little bit, he has said, guys, we're taking it right at him. Gain of 12, now gain of 15, and T.Y. is over 100.
Well, and they do a great job. Of course, Sharon Black leading the way up behind that running play. He just blows off the defender that time, and Tyrone Ross has a nice gaping hole. He dances in the secondary once again.
And we need to sometimes, we talk about Giles downfield, but Bush, Jones, Simpson, Williams, and Amy do a very nice job. And that's a very physical, big, tall receiving core with the exception of Tony, who's as scrappy as they get at 5'8", 160. Josh, T.Y. up the gut, right tackle, makes the first one miss, has about 4, takes a beating from about 4 Waco High Lions, but a gain of 4 to 5 out to the shot Johnson, the safety on the stop with 8 minutes to go. Craig, did you have a chance to get earshot of Gary Fleet's tantrum down there?
Yeah, I was standing right there, and there's probably a lot of words that I can't say on the radio, but I will say it's definitely a motivational tool for these offensive linemen. You can see everybody kind of getting lackadaisical, and you can tell right now on this drive that they seem to hype up a little bit.
And you know what? I've also noticed that everybody on the bench kind of has a little sense of urgency here to try to end this game on a high note that started on such a great high note. D'Angelo Jones, far side, the 6'3" senior who caught his first pass earlier tonight. Tight end is Giles. 3 running backs in this formation. That's Peyton Price up the gut, 40, flag down. Oh, Lord, it's a holding call most likely at about the 38, 39-yard line. And Andre Henry was the one who made the tackle for Waco High, but here comes a drive. They get into Waco High territory after a gain of 10, but this one gets wiped out.
Yeah, it does, and that's a 10th flag by my count tonight against Lee for 67 yards. Waco has 8 for 55.
Start having a...
That's a lot.
Hold it. On the offense. 10 yards. Remain second down.
Doyle Poe getting some pretty good prime time in this one. You've got to start having a sponsor like Hart's Cleaners or somebody like that, Regency Cleaners for these officials.
It's a great veteran crew out there, too, David.
7:25, and Ryan Davenport is checked in at right tackle for Lee. Culp the right guard. Larman is the center. Banks and Saran, left guard and left tackle. 3 receivers far side. Josh, he's got some problems here. Does the quarterback, that thing, it didn't sell that very well. It just, Reggie Young on the stop for Waco High, and here's a drive that, here's a flag down as well. Not sure if there's a defensive offsides call or illegal shift. I don't know if Lee had the wide receiver on the line of scrimmage. I don't know if D'Angelo was on the line of scrimmage or not. Let's see if Doyle Poe could explain that one. Procedure against Lee.
Reggie Young just did a great job. He stayed at home, and it's great teaching technique. He stays at home, and he'll turn the corner, thinks he has daylight, and number 8 standing right in the face.
They'll probably decline this, won't they?
Get the play over.
Penalties refused.
Yeah, and they knocked him down for a loss of 3. But again, the losses on certain plays, something Mike expected a lot of because of the Waco High front 4. But they gashed him early and often enough to where they've had a chance to have a little cushion here. And number 40, I tell you what, Andre Henry is a jacked up human being, that right tackle, right defensive end. He is bouncing around quite a bit, trying to make some plays. 3rd and 15 now. Double tight set, Josh back to throw, pressure, pumps. Going deep, he's got Tony. Happy birthday, 20, inside the 20, down to the 16. And they fake the pump again, 34 yards. Johnson knocks him out of bounds, and Tony Bush is over 100 yards for the first time in his career.
Great protection up front, too. Once again, they keep the quarterback with great time to throw the ball, and, of course, the pump fake freezes the cornerback, and Bush had him beat by 8 or 9 yards as he makes the catch and had to wait on the ball a little bit, but Lee is back in business inside the red zone once again.
Jonah Murphy back in the game. Simpson will sit down, and they've beaten Waco High 3 times on that play. D'Angelo Jones far side. Tony Bush on his birthday, along with his brother, 4 catches for 115 yards. Josh Hill is 10 of 14 for 240 yards passing. Here's Josh, right tackle. T.Y. breaks it outside inside the 15. Enough tough run. Johnson, the safety, has been in a lot of stops for Waco High. And Joe Bishop in his 26th year as the defensive coordinator. Sean Brown also was there.
A stretch play, picks up positive yardage again. You know, you talk about having negative yardage on plays, and Lee's probably had 5 or 6 of those tonight, but the other 40 to 45 plays have just been outstanding positive yardage.
T.Y. gets some skin from Peyton Mullins. He's probably done for the night. 121 yards on 20 carries. And with under 6 minutes to go, Lee is pushing that Waco High defense back a little bit. I want whatever Andre Henry, number 48, has.
He's hyped up.
2nd down and 7. Josh. This is Jason Williams at the 10, inside the 10, close to another first down, just short. Langford that time, the senior defensive tackle, peels back and makes the stop. And Peyton Price with a nice block on Andre Henry and gives Jason Williams 5 more, and it's 3rd down and 1.5 yards.
You know what's interesting with Ross's carries and yardage tonight? He's not scored.
Yeah, he had 3
Amazing.
times. And again on that, we've talked about the rushing total, where he's about 500 behind the great Derek Farmer. He has 32 touchdowns in a career, which is 10 behind Keandre Smith and also Derek Farmer for career touchdowns in a year. The record for the year, 22 by Derek. Offset I. Brad Royal in the game. This is Jason at the 5, outside, close to the goal line, has a first down. Sean Brown stops him just short, and Lee with a 1st and goal with 4:55. And although it got a little sloppy third quarter, Brad Royal with a nice block for Robert E. Lee by a nice job by the senior fullback. They've taken control, and they've kind of like, okay, wait a minute, let's just kind of pound on them.
Well, this drive is really a great microcosm of that, David. They've answered right back, and they're hitting double digits on plays in this drive, and they've controlled the line of scrimmage as well.
Now Chris Aputica is in the game. Remember last week Aputica ran for 65 yards on 9 carries. With 4:40 to go in the game, Lee has a 1st and goal at the 1. Aputica, tough 177-pound sophomore. Double tight set. Josh Aputica down to the goal line, squeezes in, yes, touchdown. It didn't look like he had it, and that's why they gave it to him, because he is one tough guy, and he squirms in, and the sophomore with his first varsity touchdown for Robert E. Lee. His brother's got to be pretty proud. Marshall, who plays at Chapel Hill.
Well, he just takes it and hammers in behind the big guy, Saron Black, and of course Sam Banks at 5'9", 240, pushes back the defensive front, and Lee with another touchdown.
And here comes the extra point attempt. After some anxious moments throughout most of this second half, you look up, it was 28-7 at halftime. It's 35-7 as Cole adds another point. 4:27 to go. Robert E. Lee 35 and Waco High 7 back in 60 seconds.
To see this sign on your house, put this sign out front. Century 21 Advantage. Call or visit our website.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Here's a question. If you needed your insurance, who would you call? Not the name of the company, but the name of the person. You've got 2 seconds. Coming up blank, you may want to consider Allstate. You'd have a local agent you can count on, a licensed professional whose name you know, not just a number. You deserve a relationship with a real person.
For all your insurance needs, call the McIntyre Insurance Agency in the Albertson Shopping Center.
With 4 minutes and 27 seconds remaining at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium in Tyler, Robert E. Lee putting this one away with a nice, tough drive, a big play to Tony Bush. Aputica scores, and here's Cole Skate's line drive, deep kick to Halbert at about the 4. Looks like he hit his knee on the ground. 10, 15, and breaks outside and runs into Quet Nicholson, who makes the special team stop. Randy, that was a big play to Bush that kept that drive alive, but they pound the ball on the ground.
And that was a third down play too, David. 9 plays, 73 yards in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Their longest drive of the year time-wise. And it's culminated with Chris Aputica's touchdown with 1-yard run.
I was here at Thursday night at the Chapel Hill. There's an injury, by the way, and Lance Heap being helped off the field. Boy, I think he's got cramps too, just based on the reaction. That's one thing we'll have to kind of dig into. And boy, once you get him, it feels like somebody has shot you in the leg, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's just part of a hot, muggy night in East Texas. Ajiki remains in its safety along with Nick Mitchell. Play action, Carl Sims rolls to his right, looks for a receiver. Simmons tracks him down, and he's knocked out of bounds. Nice job by Hansen as well, I think, on the far side. Gain of about 7. But now you can breathe a little bit. Justin Hansen, the junior safety, on the stop.
You know, there were really only a few tense moments in the second quarter where they got the fumble recovery and made it 17-7, and Lee's answered back with 18 unanswered points since that point too, David.
Hey, by the way, last week I was talking about you got Tyler Fleet, you've got Tyler Owen. I mean, everybody coach's son is named Tyler, it seems like, right now. And there's a Tyler Reed coming up. I mentioned Trevor Reed might have been a part of Jerry Reed. Mary Ellen Reed kind of informed me she didn't know she had a son named Trevor. So here's Sims getting outside for a first down. She goes, David, I heard you gave me an extra son. Her son Chris was a heck of a baseball player. He played on the football team as well. Hanson and Beard on the stop for Lee. But so we gave him an extra kid on the Reed family. We're correcting that. But you got Tyler Owens, Tyler Fleet,
Mullins.
And there's a Tyler Reed. Is there a Tyler Mullins?
There's a Mullins on the team.
No, there's not a Tyler Mullins.
Well, it's not Tyler. It's Matt Mullins.
Yeah, but I mean, we might as well. I mean, it's like, you come to Tyler, you coach, you start having kids, you name them Tyler. First down at the 32. It's getting late, folks. Here's a draw play and a flag down, which we haven't seen tonight. 3:51 to go, fourth quarter. Thanks to, again, engineer Mike LaRue, Randy Johnson and Kerry Ainsworth here in the booth, Craig Smoke in the sideline, and Justin Brinker back in the studio, along with many others like Alan Johnson, Stephen Riggins, Timothy Maston, Trey Foster, the folks in the studio scrambling to get as many scores as we can. Justin, are we doing pretty well where we might hit that thing a little bit later than normal? Yeah, we might have to kind of hit that thing a little bit later than normal. Here's a score in the district. Plano East leading North Mesquite with 2 minutes to go, 27-14. Here's Halbert in the draw play, and what a nice play by Lee's defensive end, Wayne Simmons. And I tell you what, these guys, we mentioned them last week, Colby Ray, Wayne Simmons,
was that Justin?
Gabriel Lacey, Justin Simmons, excuse me, Jacoby McKenzie, and many of these guys have come in to give Lee tremendous depth at a position, the defensive line, where there was a lot of concerns in the offseason.
Well, these first two games, they've gotten about 30 defensive players on the field, if you think about it, with all the backups. Well, let's say about 23 anyway, as a lot of red shirts have been able to get on the field.
And George Faber now in the game, the wide receiver, a sophomore. Sims, play action, wanting to go deep. Nice coverage for Lee. Hicks was there. They looked like offensive pass interference that time. Adrian Beard, though, was as much the intended receiver as the defensive back, or the receiver was Hicks, and now Hicks is getting a little word from Nick Mitchell. Hey, that's a nice ride back to Waco.
2.5 hours back down 31 it is for the Waco Lions. Well, Lee's really done what they've had to do. They have controlled the line of scrimmage tonight, and that's been the difference in the game, along with just great execution at times, notwithstanding the 3 turnovers.
2:57 to go. Last year they had to hold on at the end, remember, 32-22. They've had this thing pretty much in hand since the first quarter, but with a few extra moments. But this is a good football team, guys. Yep. Sims, he is such a, where would they be without Carl Sims? He's going to have 150-plus yards rushing. He picks up about 13 there, stopped by Justin Hanson. So let's talk about those Panthers who are hammering Alden Eisenhower. They've changed up their offense down there. They've been beaten badly twice. Some of the greatest wins might go. In fact, maybe top 5 or 6 best wins of all time have been down in Lufkin.
With the exception of last year's loss, they had won every game that Owens had coached down there until last year's 27-12 setback.
4th down and 3, and Sims continues to try to get his team something for next week. Here's the fullback, or Sims in the quarterback option outside for a first down on 4th and 3. As he just took that thing and faked it to Halbert and gains 4 yards. In 97, when Lee made the playoffs, beat Carter in the playoffs, and then lost in the second round to Lake Highlands, that was a huge win at Abe Martin Stadium. That was the game that kind of started some tension between those two schools when there was a brawl after the game. Then in 98, the game here, Lee was 8-0, number 3 or 4 in the state. They lost when Hadnot went about 70 late in the game. But then 99, 2000, Lee went back-to-back with wins on the road at Lufkin, which were huge and kind of took this program to a different level. Here's, how can we forget the double overtime monster? Here's the pass. It is intercepted or caught. I don't know who comes down with it. That's a catch. They give the receiver the benefit of the doubt, and that's going to make Quet Nicholson pretty upset. But Betters makes the catch down to the 25 with under 2 minutes to go in the game. The greatest of all time, though, the year after Lufkin had won the state championship in 2002, an unsung kid named Mike Rogers catches a pass in overtime as Lee wins the game on a pass from Matt Flynn in the pouring down torrential rain. Nick McLean in the game for Robert E. Lee, and that one's one that will go in the history books for quite some time. 33 yards, back to throw. Here comes, oh, he's gotten loose again. Now he wants to throw. He's got a man wide open. Touchdown, Anthony Hicks. He got around the cornerback that time, which was Adrian Beard, and a touchdown and a pretty nice little drive of 23-yard touchdown with 1:36 to go. And it's 35-13 Lee by 22.
Well, he rolls out, and he has all kinds of daylight in the field. He probably could have run the ball and picked up nice yardage as well, but his receiver shakes loose and makes the catch right inside the end line of the end zone, and Waco responds here late in the ballgame.
This is going to be a weird statistical game.
Very much so.
For Waco High, they've had some yardage here at times in surges. And now all of a sudden you look up and Sims is 139 yards passing and about 60 of them on this drive. Low snap, nice job by Sims, of course, who else, to get it down, and Veracruz hits the extra point. 1:36 to go. Robert E. Lee 35 and Waco High 14. We're back in 60 seconds.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there. We're there with nearly 50 degrees and certificates and as many as 400 continuing education classes. Wherever you want to go, we can take you there because we're right here. Tyler Junior College.
I'm there. I'm there.
I'm there. I'm there.
You know what I like about Texas? We'll always find a way to stay cool. And when our work is through, we know just what to do. Every true Texan loves a DQ.
Pop into DQ for new popcorn chicken. These crispy, delicious, all-white chicken bites are perfect for dipping. Plus, get any size Coke free with a large order. And for all you chocoholics, try our newest treat, the Triple Chocolate Utopia.
DQ, that's what I like about Texas.
Coming up after the game, our post-game report, and then our Friday night high school football scoreboard show. And here comes an onside kick attempt, you would think, from Waco High. It's 35-14 with 1:36 to go. Here comes the wedge. Here comes the onside kick. It's a high bounce, and it is loose on the ground. And a scramble forward, and Peyton Price, who kind of had knocked it down like a shortstop and then landed on it at the 40-yard line, and Lee will take it over and just try to run this thing out. Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining. Not sure if they'll use any of them. Lee jumped on Waco High. 2 long touchdown passes to Tony Bush and then Walter Simpson for 401 yards in the first half. Lee now with a lot of backups in the game, including quarterback Preston Hill and Chris Aputica. Sophomore is the tailback. Here's Aputica, round right tackle, and breaks the first tackle. And I'm telling you, we have not heard, we're going to hear from him quite a long time. Aputica picks up 3. As the faucet of tailbacks, Hurtado makes the stop. You had Joffrey Reynolds, who kind of got this thing kick-started, then John Porter, then Derek Farmer, and then Tyrone and Keandre Smith. And now,
Chris
of course,
Aputica.
you've got Jason Williams and now Chris Aputica.
He's a battering ram on that play.
And I've heard 5 yards for Aputica. Justin Watts, the split receiver, in a procedure call, as Lee's just trying to run out the clock.
That's 11 penalties. It's really the only downside of the whole game.
Substitution infraction. Offense broke the huddle with 12 men. 5 yards.
So it's 2nd down and 12. Minute 1 to go. But see, here's another one of those rules. If that's an offensive penalty, why does the clock continue to run after they set it? You can do that many times if you want to just waste the clock. Not understood that. There's a weird handoff to Brad Royal, and he's taking some guys with him. And nice, tough 4 or 5 yard run from Brad Royal. And Rashad Johnson again makes the stop after a gain of about 4 to 5. Craig Smoke will have some post game with Mike Owens, probably the birthday boy Tony Bush, who's had his best game of his career with 4 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown, the first of the game from 45 yards. So Brad Royal picks up 5 yards, and Lee probably taking their last snap right here. In fact, the play clock is not even being run, so I'm not sure if they're going to even have to take another snap, and that's probably going to do it as LaQuaylen McDonald, Quantum McDonald, and all the others start to shake some hands. So a gain of 5 for Royal will wrap it up for Robert E. Lee, and that will do it. It's a program that Lee used to not be able to even get close to. Then they started to have some pretty good wars. Then they won last year. And then today they dominate. 35-14, Robert E. Lee beats Waco High, and Craig Smoke will have Lee head coach Mike Owens here in just a moment as they both teams at midfield shake hands, and you never know if you might see one of these teams down the road. Mike with Craig.
Coach Owens, you once said that Waco High is the most physical team you play all year. It was a bloodbath tonight, not a very pretty game, but your team was able to come through and win it.
Well, I think that, they played hard, and our kids played hard, much more physical than we did last week. And I think we had to, because they're a better football team than the guys we played last week. And, I'm just the only thing I'm disappointed about is the turnovers in the red zone. We can't have that.
Talk about Josh Hill. He was sick all week leading up to this game. Talk about his performance tonight and the rest of the offense.
Well, they all did a good job. I mean, we, lost a few fumbles, threw a couple interceptions, I guess, but Josh was sick this morning, throwing up and all that, and so I think he's really sucked it up and played well.
How does playing a team like Waco, as physical as they are, set you up for the rest of the season?
Well, I think you just take them one at a time. I mean, Waco is real good to play. If you're going to have to play long periods of time, and you hope to play for a long period of time, you got to play teams like them that have the big kids that can run and are real physical on defense. So that just helps us out a bunch.
All right, you got Lufkin coming up this next week, another tough game. You got a very brutal preseason. Talk about what you look forward to working on with your team this week.
Well, we got a lot of things we can work on, our passing game and everything. I mean, we just need to work, and our kids are getting a lot of work. We had to play some young corners tonight because we had a couple guys cramped up and injured. But see, we didn't have to play 4 quarters last week, and so we got to find out if we can play. And so that's why we kept our starters in as long as we did. We got to play for 4 quarters without cramping.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks for watching High School Football. Presented by TISD and Cox Communications of Tyler. Brought to you by Dairy Queen and Supercuts. Also brought to you by these sponsors.